I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Welcome to the August 5th Commissioners meeting. Let the record show that all three commissioners are here, present and accounted for, and we also have Miss Tammy, our auditor, here. I will say this on behalf of our county attorney. He is home doing much better, so everything's going good on that end, and we certainly wish him continued success there. So he is home and doing a lot better. He sent me a text yesterday and let me know that. As usual, before every meeting, we have an opportunity for anybody that's not on the agenda that has anything that they'd like to bring up that's not on the agenda. We have a small window of opportunity here, and now's the time to do that. If you are here to ask a question or to make a comment, you're welcome to do so at this time. All right, if not, there is, I think, one thing that we will do just on the agenda about the third one down. I think Marty was omitted from being on here, and so anyway, Marty, we're going to put you in there, so that's where we'll put you at.
Well, here's just a little bit. There's three of us that would like to speak here in a little bit whenever we have the time.
Okay, right now's the time. Yeah.
If you don't mind, I'll start out.
Okay.
It seems we've got a little bit of a reoccurring EMS problem. I'm going to come back to that here in just a minute and explain myself. But I know a lot of you in the room, and some of you are aware in the mid-90s we fought this kind of same battle, and we fixed a lot of things. But I want to tell you a little bit about myself. My name's Adam Senior. Like I said, some of you I know, but I've been a paramedic for over 25 years, been an instructor for about 20 years, and flew on a helicopter in Tennessee at the Level 1 Trauma Center for several years, and travel, teach all the things you do with them. So I wanted to say that just to tie together with some of this other stuff. Well, Monday evening, I was at my family's house, and the ambulance was called 911. I've got a very sick relative, has a lot of history. She sees 3 different specialty physicians that we don't have here in the county. As the ambulance crew came in, they said to my relative, the first question is, what hospital do you want to go to? They came in with no equipment. For a total of over 30 minutes, they didn't do anything for my relative. They didn't check any vital signs, no equipment, no assessment, no treatment, no nothing. Matter of fact, they argued with the caregiver, my relative, on what hospital they was going to. So about the first 10 or 12 minutes, I didn't say anything, didn't even introduce myself. And I finally said, gentlemen, that's not right, it's illegal. She has the right to go to the hospital she wants to go to. Well, this went on for 30 minutes. We finally got the interim director to call back. And he finally said, let's take her to Floyd Memorial, where she sees 3 different specialists. This has happened 6 to 7 times just to my relative in the last year and a half. And one of the things the EMS gentleman said to me, I said, why would you try to force my family to go to a hospital where they can't take care of her? They already know that. They've discharged her many times. They know they can't help her. And he said, the EMS commissioners signed a policy that says when we're the last ambulance in the county, we don't have to take her. And I said, guys, you know that's not morally and ethically right. That's wrong in every way. I said, a policy like that has severe consequences. It has fatal consequences. I said, we fought that battle before. I said, it's not the right thing to do. And I explained now to you, this is not what I talked to them. I'll fast forward a little bit here. I was privileged to be in an outreach program with our flight service. It was led by our medical director. He was a board-certified trauma physician. We went out into the community and through the American Heart Association and many trauma courses. I'll keep this short on 2 scenarios, stroke and trauma. We went out to the outlying hospitals, a lot like here in Scott County, and did education for the volunteer fire departments, EMS, the hospitals, nurses, doctors, etc., paramedics. And AHA guidelines, they talk about a short time window you have in a stroke situation. The book says you don't take them to the closest facility, you take them to the closest appropriate. That means a stroke facility that has neurosurgeons on standby and a team of people. Because if not, if you go past that window, to fast forward, you don't qualify for thrombolytic therapy, which means you either you expire, hopefully not, or you don't get those medicines. You end up in rehab for months, if not years. You could end up, a lot of them do, with limbs that don't move, don't walk, slurred speech, and they're that way forever. The second one is trauma. And I know we can all go back to the helicopter thing, but they're not always available, weather, so on and so forth. But if you force the patient also to go to a smaller hospital like here, it's no offense, I love the people here as much as you guys do, but it's not a trauma center. There's a thing called the golden hour. If you don't have that patient in a traumatic situation in with a surgeon within 1 hour, every minute after that, you can look up the statistics. The mortality rate is off the charts, meaning most likely you're not going to survive that. And if you do have some type of internal bleeding and you go to a small hospital that doesn't have surgeons and these specialty people, death is imminent. It's going to happen. So to prevent that, that's why we used to go out and teach under these guidelines. This is not something I made up. This is something American Heart Association, many, many doctors around the world. So we went out with our medical director and trained people to all the places like here in Scott County to explain to them. Going closest is not the best thing to do. Matter of fact, it's the opposite. It has deadly consequences, guys. I love this county. I just moved back. I got a granddaughter here, but I fought this same battle we're talking about now many years with many of you in this room. And we didn't do that. We didn't set a policy to say we can't transport you. We added more paramedics and a third ambulance. So that's something we can talk about a little bit later. But I just wanted to ask, one, do we have such a policy that he told me? I'm in a little bit of disbelief that we would write a policy that says we have to force a patient to go to a hospital that can't provide the appropriate care. If so, I would ask that everybody in this room, if this happened to you or your family like it just did mine 7 times, would you accept that? If your wife, your husband, your father, or your children need a pediatrician, cardiologist, or one of those things, it's not that we don't love Scott County Hospital, and I just told you those time frames, and some of those scenarios happen. There's many more, guys. I'm trying to keep it short and sweet. That's just 2. There's many, many more. Is that acceptable to anybody in this room? I'd just like to see a show of hands if that's acceptable.
I'll respond to that. First of all, I think that is probably a policy, and I'm going to tell you why. And first of all, if your relative is a stroke, if she was having a stroke or he was having a stroke, that patient's going to get flown. So
If they're available.
Not always.
James,
I've already been there.
okay, let's just argue that it's going to happen. All right, so I know how many times the stroke victims get flown out, weather permitting, and you're a flight nurse, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So the policy, and I don't know if it's a written policy anyplace, but I know it happens because I'm a first responder. I'm on those runs as much as most people. If that's the only ambulance in Scott County, that's probably the policy. Is they're going to go to Scott County. And if that person needs to be flown, then they'll be flown. If they need to be transferred, they're going to be transferred. But they're going to travel to the closest emergency service hospital. They can, but you're right. If it's a trauma, they're going to U of L, you know, and they're going to call on call, or they're going to call they're going to call another service from Washington County, Jackson County, New Chapel, or Washington County to come in and stand by at the county line. But are those perfect scenarios? No. This board passed probably over a month ago, and with the council, to fund a 3rd truck. That truck, I was told, I think we got an email or text message from the interim director saying that truck's going to be on starting the 18th, I believe. It's going to be fully manned. It's going to be a 12-hour shift. So at 12 hours during the day, there's going to be a 3rd truck. I mean, plus they have an option to have a on-call truck. So the answer to your question is that's probably, if they're not going to take an ambulance out of the county for if it's to go to a separate hospital outside of going to the closest hospital, that probably is a, and I mean, I'm not the director, I don't make policy out there, but I venture to say I've heard it enough times to know that if they're the only ambulance, that's where they're going.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's really not the correct thing to do, honestly.
We talked about this the other day.
Can I say something?
If I got your conversation right, Bill, let me know if I'm wrong here. This all was because it was the only ambulance left in the county, is that
They
correct?
said there's one ambulance, yes.
And I'm certain that's probably why he wouldn't go out. Now, whether it's the right thing or new, I don't know, but we gotta have
Well,
somebody
I
here.
can reassure you backing that it is definitely not the right thing to do because it's against American Heart Association guidelines and every trauma course in the world.
Yeah.
And no offense to the medical director here, but the gentleman that we taught this, that it's wrong. We used to go out and do public education. Those outreach programs as a board certified trauma physician. And the other position is a board certified surgeon. It is definitely not the right thing. There's other ways to
I
fix the
get what
problem.
you're saying, I think the concern that I call all this was
Yeah.
leaving this, our county unattended. And like you said, they'd have to have somebody got back, we'd had to have somebody in this area to pick it up quick.
You may remember, John, what we did back when we battled this before, is we
Yeah.
had, remember, a paramedic to each truck. There used to be one when I first hired in
Yeah.
there, and then we added a third truck. But I'm just saying, to force a patient because there's one ambulance is unacceptable, in my opinion. It's unacceptable by all these courses in the world and these other physicians. It's backed by science, it's mortality rates. I mean, I understand what you're saying also, but there's so many scenarios that if a tornado hit, we wouldn't have enough ambulances, but you can't force her mother not to go to the hospital because we only have one ambulance when they
Was it your
cannot,
mother?
they cannot treat her here, you know,
Yes,
sufficiently. So it's backed by science. It's not something I just made up, but I mean, we didn't go out in the community just to show our muscle as a flight crew like we're the big people. This is all stuff that was written by doctors all over the world. It's the wrong thing to do. I promise you, it's the wrong thing to do. I understand there's a battle about not enough ambulances, but John can tell you back in our day, we had mutual aid. I even signed some of those agreements myself. King's Daughters, different ones. So we do have those agreements, but in the meantime, what we used to do, and that's why one of the reasons James is here, he was the fire chief in Vienna. We would activate whatever area, whether it's the Scottsdale Volunteer Fire Department, Vienna, it doesn't matter. Any of the volunteer fire departments, we would activate them so somebody was with that patient until mutual aid came, rather than to hold an ambulance back and refuse care. Because refusing care, and I just showed you.
That happens now.
Huh?
That happens now. I mean,
Well, why would we hold an ambulance back when I just showed you it's deadly?
because
Deadly
because
consequences.
fire departments can't transport.
They don't have to transport, you just gotta be with the patient
And we're
until
still-
an ambulance is available.
We're still there. Scottsburg Fire Department, I've been on there 38 years. I know exactly what we do. We go and I've sat with patients for 35 minutes waiting for an ambulance. So I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, so I'm not
Yeah, I think it
ignorant.
runs with you.
I'm not
The other
ignorant
problem
to,
is we don't have either paramedics or EMTs on every ambulance, at least one.
we always have an EMT on it.
No, they sit in mom and dad's driveway for a good 20, 25 minutes or longer to take him to Clark County.
Because what?
Heart problems.
No.
They had to wait on another ambulance to come to bring a medic.
So an ambulance showed up with one person on it.
No, there was two on there, that they had to wait on the second ambulance to come.
He's saying one of them didn't have a paramedic on it, had two EMTs.
Yeah,
Right.
well, that happened, that happens a lot of times. I mean, that I mean, I know they try
And
to
of
set
course,
it.
we've been through the same deal with transporting to Clark County. His heart doctor's at Clark County. They could not fly him because of the weather.
Yeah.
And
Well, James, you also know, and I mean, if it's a trauma, and 9 out of 10 times they're gonna end up at U of L anyway, whether they're flown or they're going, but, I believe, and I may be totally wrong here, but I think I'm right. You're going to the closest hospital, whether you like that hospital or not, if it's a trauma, they're gonna take you to the closest hospital, because that's protocol.
See, that's what they teach, is not
I-
correct. That's not
I've
correct.
seen that happen differently at Highway 3 at 356.
They can't bypass the closest
Yes,
facility.
Yes, they can. Yes, they
Okay,
can.
well,
I can
then,
show you in writing.
bring me
I
the
can.
information, cause I
I
wanna
can.
know it, so.
American Heart Association, even, I can show it to you all through the books, Mike.
I know, but the American Heart Association
For
is
30 years, or 20 years.
I'm not arguing with you, I wanna see it if that's, but I've been told
It is.
in all my training that you go to the closest facility.
Honestly, no offense to you, they taught that in the 70s and 80s, and it's changed since. I promise you, I've got it.
Well, I
right.
started-
Anybody in the room is welcome to look it up. I reassure you what I'm
You
telling you.
get it
is
to us,
fact.
Adam.
I will
That's
get it to
fine.
you.
That's
If you have
fine.
my word, I'll bring it
I'd like to
to
see
you.
what the lady has.
But the answer to your other question about, we approved, what, 30 days ago, probably?
I've been,
A third truck, and the way we set that up is we set it up for every truck. That'd be 3 trucks in the county, paramedic on every truck with an EMT.
Yeah, and I think that's a great idea, and at that point, I'd like to see you reverse that policy, because that guy's ain't here to argue with you, but this is all of our families,
Oh,
Mike,
yeah.
yours too. This, guys, I'll tell you, you can look it up, there's deadly consequences to forcing people to go to a hospital that don't have neurosurgeons, trauma surgeons. I won't beat that to death, but
Yeah.
I know you agree too, Mike, but.
Yeah, but I will say this, because they're associated with Norton's, every stroke patient, if they're available, gets flown. I mean,
That's a
it's-
great thing,
whether
yeah.
whether you wanna go, I had a friend of mine say, I'm not going. You can take me by ambulance, but I'm not flying, so, but anyway, give me the information, cause I really
Here's-
wanna have it.
here's what I'd like to say. First of all, it was your mother. I understand. First of all, I am sorry. Second of all, right at the moment, we are experiencing what I would like to think is just growth problems out there. We are with an interim. Monday night, I believe it is, we have interviews for a full-time director. And when they talk about policy, about commissioner's policy, I'm gonna tell you that has never been presented to me in this light. Now, with that being said, if that's the standard operating procedures of the EMS, yes, we agreed and signed off on them back a long time ago. So I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna say that that's a fact that the commissioners is past that policy. I'll research that and see. But if it is, I do think that we wanna offer the best service that we could possibly offer. We've had problems with getting help, just like a lot of other places have. That seems to be leveling out. Again, we can't wait till the third truck does come on, and I think at that point, we're gonna hope that it's going to.
I just want to say one last little thing for everyone that does it. It can't be a coincidence that my family, his, and the people that run this assisted care living said for year after year, they force every single resident to go to Scottsburg. They can't be down the last truck 800 times, guys, with 30 or 40 or 7. There's no
Yeah.
way they can be down the
And
last truck.
I agree with that.
So these EMTs and paramedics are not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Well, even since they changed it over to the 911 system, they don't know where the hell they're going. I've seen this happen at my parents' house, next door to their house, and across the street. They can't find the house by the address. When we used landmarks, it was a lot easier. Everybody knew where they were going.
That's a different topic.
Oh, I know, I understand. It's been a
I'm
mess.
not gonna
It's
disagree
been a
with
mess
you.
for a long time.
We can argue
Last
that one,
few
but I
years.
just think, I'm not trying to be smart, let's stick to Adam's issue, if you
Right.
don't mind. But that's an issue.
They need to know where they're at.
We have been, not a lot of discussion, we have been talking a little bit about, maybe our surveyor could help a little bit on getting our things done over there with the ordinance and all that, but let's stick with this, if you don't
John,
mind.
if you would like to, you can add that to the agenda for the next meeting, and I'll bring all that information, because it's all over the place, in every course in the world, it's in every American Heart Association book in the country.
Here's what and of course, I'm not a genius on this, don't claim to be, you've done it for your whole life. Mike's been a lot more involved in that, in the emergency service than I have, but, our hospital is Norton's hospital. And even though the law may say you gotta go there, I'm not too sure going to Norton's out local doesn't make that legal.
No, it
I don't know,
doesn't
I'm
do
just,
anything
it's
legal.
at Norton's, and if Norton's in Louisville, it's one. Just a thought.
Yeah, just a real quick note on that. No, actually, by the state, it's illegal to tell a patient they can't go to where they choose, within reason. You can't make it go to Florida, but within reason, you can call the state EMS commission. You have to take them where they want to go. And actually, they're a paying customer. If you don't take them, they got to pay 4 bills. Now, 2 ambulance, maybe a helicopter, and 2 ER. That's not fair either. That's a whole other side note. I'm just talking about patient care, because we care about our citizens here. We care about our families. But I didn't even add the money part in. If you're a paying customer, now because EMS refused to take you, you're gonna get 4 bills, because Mike's right. They're gonna fly you if it's available. We all know how many thousands of dollars that costs. Believe me, I've done that most of my adult life.
And you got insurance or.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a cheap ride.
Yeah, so if you guys don't matter, I'm gonna let my cousin tell you some of the story that this happened. She can go into more detail.
Yeah.
Well, then, even on Sunday night, I told the EMTs, I said, you know, my mom's insurance pays for her to go to Floyd. Can't take her anywhere but Scott, for the only truck. She's 89. Sorry.
While she's getting her thoughts together, guys, I know HIPAA laws restrict us from saying things, but I couldn't tell you enough. She has to see 3 specialty physicians. Scottsburg, I love them to death. You know, I've worked with Lisa hand in hand many years with several of you in the room. It's not personal towards Scottsburg, but she sees 3 specialty physicians. She's on borrowed time right now, guys. By the grace of God, she's still here with us. That's why I said a while ago, it's unacceptable to force her for multiple reasons, but Scottsburg just discharged her the day before and said you have to follow up with cardiology. Her doctors also told her, stop taking them here, you've got to bring her down here. They don't have the people to do it. There's no cardiologist. She's seeing right now, guys, a kidney doctor, a lung doctor, she's got severe problems in her lungs. Like I said, I can't go into all the detail because of HIPAA laws, even though we're family, they're not gonna say something to me for doing it. The guy, she has to go down there. The doctor even said that. And then here we turn right around and say, I'm bigger than that doctor because my policy says this. And we all know, guys, that is so wrong. Now, if you've got your thoughts back,
So
let
do you-
you say something.
You're saying that it happened multiple times?
7 times,
And
eight and a half.
It's happened a lot with her.
So
And
many-
yes, there has been times that he took her to where she needed to go, but like Sunday night they came, and a lot of them don't know this too, and I tell them, there's 2 parking lots at Craig Park. Send the EMTs to the back parking lot. Time's precious. I have to walk to the front parking lot to get the EMTs. And I tell them every time she's around back by the railroad tracks, you know? And so I go up there and I get them. They come in Mom's apartment. She's on her oxygen. And they don't have any equipment at all with them. You know, usually they bring in their bags of equipment. But if she needed something, you know,
Could you tell me what date this was
Sunday, this past Sunday.
and what time was
I
that?
heard that wrong.
Was it Sunday or not?
It's, no, the first one was Sunday night. Sunday evening, like
Okay,
It's her apartment 24.
124. Lisa's my cousin. I know Lisa. She's my family too.
I know where you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I have heard there's multiple runs there, so
Yes.
I do know that
And,
location.
Never before have I seen my mom. She's 89 years old. She walked like this. They took her oxygen off of her on the couch and got hold of her on each side of the arm and made her walk to the gurney outside the door with no oxygen. And then she's on the gurney and she can't breathe. And they don't have enough common sense to put the oxygen on her, take her to, like they have done before. Take it and put it on her, on the oxygen tank. They made her wait till she got in the ambulance before they gave her oxygen.
By the way, it's documented, and it's on 911 as well. It was over 30 minutes, nothing.
That was
done.
Monday
They didn't even
night.
assess her verbally or
They took
hands-on
her to
reliance
Scott
on.
County, she had a fever, weakness. They never even swabbed her to check for COVID till I went the next morning about 20 after 10 at the hospital. And I asked them if they did the test. They hadn't, but they had her in isolation. And
So Sunday night, she went to Scott County, and
Yes.
then they sent her home, and then she went Monday
they
night.
sent her home. When they sent her home that evening, she got worse again, called the ambulance. And that's when my cousin had told me, you know, they should take her where she needs to go. But they come in the same thing, nothing in hand. And I said, my God, she's been to Scott. Can't take her there. She's got to go to Floyd. Can't take her. So what we got to do? Wait for a truck? What if something happens? What if she dies?
I do know this, I do know, and you mentioned that a minute ago, we have mutual aid with several other counties.
Yes, sir.
In my opinion, I'm just giving you my opinion. I feel like that whether we're the only ambulance left or not, if it requires taking somebody down there, that's my opinion. Again, we have mutual aid that they will come and set at the county line. If anything happens, then they would pick up the next
Or we
run.
get it to pass.
And we have that now.
All these times
I
never
can't-
happened.
And I understand that, but again, I was not aware of that, but I am aware of that, and I will
See,
ask questions.
I was
And
never
I would like to
aware.
know myself, just to be honest.
I was never aware that when they say, we're the only truck left, we can't take her, I wasn't aware that they could.
Mhm.
That seems off to me too, because we have a policy that says we have mutual aid to call somebody in if we have to take somebody out of county. That's not a policy saying we can't take them. That's a policy saying
See,
we have to
that's-
call somebody else in.
And I'm a
And
little
that's my
confused
next
on it, but I
question.
will follow up on this.
Because-
try to get you an answer, I will do that.
Okay.
But the biggest thing is, you know, the answer don't help you. It's, if it happens again, and you're exactly right, we don't want to, you know, we want the best service that we can provide, and for everybody. And again, I do apologize.
But see, all this
I'm not-
happened these times, and they tell you that, and so, yeah, we go to Scott County. And then this one time when I find out that she can go, and they make one phone call, and then all of a sudden they got another crew, and then they take her to Floyd.
That's when we called Dan for interim.
And I'm assuming-
And he took
And I'm
care of it at that
assuming-
point.
He did, but at that point,
After he made the
32.
call.
I know it's late, but he at least,
Right.
once he became aware,
Yes, Mr. Butcher took care of it, I personally called him, and they called him, and we was calling him at the same time, so they put him on
Yeah.
speakerphone. I said, Danny, you know better than this. You and I fought this battle, just like John, you and I did, Jeff, Mike, several of us in the room have fought this battle before, guys. And I said, it's not the right answer.
And I'm assuming that when you say that they took her to where she wanted to go one time anyway, I'm hearing,
Right.
that actually another ambulance come in and took her, is that right?
No, another ambulance was coming back into the county.
Okay.
They had been on the
Okay.
scene for, I'll have to look up the 911 times, about 32, 34 minutes. And
Okay.
like she said, they did nothing. 6 witnesses, they didn't even bring a bag in.
Okay.
Didn't even ask her.
So you're
name.
saying that when they were waiting for the second ambulance, they were still at your apartment?
Yes, sir.
So they weren't at an ER, they,
No, sir.
okay.
But when the
They
ambulance
were-
See,
came,
that's the same situation we had.
They were getting
We had-
upset, and
And
they
of
were
course, they had to
arguing
call
with
into the
them.
hospital, and make sure they could go, and ask Carlsdale if they could go before they went. And, we're sitting here waiting for them to waste time while this is going on. And really, there was more firemen on the scene that were more knowledgeable than what the was ambulance people.
Do you know if the two that were sitting there were EMTs?
well, I can tell you this.
Were both of them-
You know who I'm talking about, Mike. The one gentleman, I didn't know him, but when like I said, I kept my mouth shut for about 10 minutes, didn't even introduce myself, didn't act like I'm Mr. Big Flight Paramedic or none of that. I kept my mouth shut because they argued with her. Didn't even talk to the one that's sick, didn't even ask her name, which I'm still a little livid about that, if you can't tell.
They never went up to my mother at all.
But, Mike, anyway, one of them, I come across in sarcastic tone, he said, well, I was the ambulance director, I know what, and I said, I understand that, buddy, I was a director a long time before that myself. I said, we fought this battle, I said, but it's not right. I said, you know you were trained better than that, it's wrong. Every school in America does not teach you to go to the closest facility anymore. No offense to that, but I said, they teach you guys know better in the law. So the law said it, you know what he said? He said, you're right, the law does say that, but this is what he said, that our commissioner signed a policy, we don't have to. And I said, that's why I said, call Mr. Basham, I've worked with him for years, that's not gonna fly with me, fellas. I said, it's wrong, I said, my aunt's a dying
As
woman.
Bob said, you know, we may have signed off on the SOPs, but
He was a paramedic, to answer your
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Used to be the director, he
and
said.
that's what I was kind of curious about, was that, were the two, if your mother was going south and she was had a monitor, a cardiac monitor, then a paramedic has to be on the truck. So they may have been waiting for a paramedic, but if there's a paramedic there, then that cancels that.
You know, Mike, too, just to add a little bit more, and I already said it, but you're right, that is a great scenario there if it's EMT versus paramedic, but even at that, I couldn't say enough. They came in, guys, they train I don't care what school you go to in America, the best or the worst. If they train you in the garage bay of an ambulance service, they teach you the first thing you do is come into a patient assessment. You gotta talk to the patient to know what you got, and you can't give them medicine or help them if you don't know what's going on. That's why they teach everybody in here's how to CPR class, those ABC. They didn't, of course, you know, when you talk, you got an airway, but they didn't put a stethoscope on her. Guys, 30-some minutes, I'm just amazed. They let my poor little relative lay there and suffer. They didn't do anything for 30 minutes, and this is not the first time. I mean, you guys wouldn't want me to be the director again. It's just like John can tell you, last time we had to do a little house cleaning, and I'm not gonna take all the credit, but it took a team of people. Jeff helped me a lot, I thank him for it. John's wife helped me, and John, all the past commissioners helped. It was a team effort. Guys, we wouldn't put up with that in the 90s. Why are we putting up with it now? Paramedics the same then as they are now, except now they teach you even more you don't do that. It's a no-no.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not getting on my soapbox, but this happened to James several times, if you want.
Well, I mean, our situation, money's not an issue. If a helicopter needs to be here, bring it, but in certain times you can't. And that's one of the times that we ran into that. But, seems like every time he has a heart issue, and he does wear a monitor, okay? He's got a box beside his bed, tells him exactly what goes on. Shouldn't have to argue with the hospital about taking him to Clark. It should be put him in and let's go. Their insurance pays 100% no matter what.
Well, I think, and I'm not gonna defend anybody, because I don't know the situations, but I will say this, is that, you know, we'll reach into, I know your address, so I know the ones you're talking about. I can get with Jessica or 911 and find out what the calls were and when they were. She has recordings of if they're transporting them, or if they're not transporting them, if they're transporting them to Scott, or they're transporting them to whatever, they're waiting for another ambulance. I mean, that communication's out there. As far as, you know, some of the stuff, Adam, you were telling me about, I mean, I'd like to see that information. If that's the case, then we'll get with Dr. Crosdale and see if he wants, because he's the attending physician for the EMS, so
I
I
would be
mean,
more than happy to meet with him and all of you and bring the information. He's gonna know the information.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, it's written in every book in the
we
world.
just need to make sure, because we do have a medical advisory board, and there's a hospital person on it, there's Dr. Crosdale, and there's some other people, and we have an appointment on there as well, so. But those people don't, they may review policy, but I don't know that they make policies.
You know, fairly, Dr. Crosdale may not know, because, you know, he's obviously a doctor, but he may not know, it's something you guys can call. The state of Indiana don't condone that, fellas, I can tell you. They don't. You cannot force a
Homeland
patient.
Security.
Well, I'm just saying state EMS,
It's,
any state.
it's state protocols, I mean.
Yeah, Indiana and Kentucky, all the places I've ever worked, I've flew in several of those states as well. You can't force a patient to go somewhere they don't wanna go. I mean, as long as they're not, like I said, asking to go to Florida, within reason, you can't force them to go somewhere, guys.
I would love to be able to take my mom out there, you know, but like I said, they didn't even admit her till Monday morning when I called, like 5:30, 5:45. And when I got there at 10:20, they were ready to let her go. I said, "Are you serious? You're really gonna let her go? She's still just as weak. What's wrong with her?" And then, while I was waiting, and I don't know who to take this up with, you know, but there was 2 nurses and they waited on the head nurse to come. I've worked in nursing homes and stuff, 20 years or more. But, this IV was going off down the hallway. And, 2 nurses asked, the other lady said, what do we do whenever that's beeping and it says air in the IV, in the tube? She told them what to do. They high-fived each other and said, "We learned something today." And I was standing right there.
And that was at the hospital, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that we don't control any of the hospital, that's Norton's, you'd have to contact them or somebody on that issue. But the EMS is on us, and, like I say, we will certainly,
Gentlemen, you can feel
Try to
free
find-
reach
get
out
some-
to, I personally know most of the directors around the surrounding counties, and none of them force a patient to go to a hospital. None of them have that policy. I'm flabbergasted by it, really, to be honest with you, but you can reach out to any of them.
I think the only reason they would ever say it, Adam, is just for the fact that they're gonna leave the county unprotected, so, but like I said, and I'm not saying it by any means, the level of the patients, you know.
Yeah.
If it was, I don't know, I guess their decision, you know, a decision they made right then that, hey, you know, we're gonna wait, we're going to take him to Scott or whatever, I mean, but I've been around a long time and I've heard it more than once, so I mean, whether that's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do, then maybe we need to be looking at it, so.
Well, I can reassure you, maybe I can't say for the EMTs, but I would hope so, but I can say for sure the paramedics, they know they're not trained that way, Mike. I don't care what school they go to.
Well, I mean-
They've been teaching it, like I said, the American Heart Association teaches paramedics. But matter of fact, if you look at the stroke algorithm, anybody here can get online, go to American Heart Association, Advanced Cardiac Life Support. That particular class, guys, I taught for 20 years. All nurses have to have it to work in an ER. All physicians have to have it. You cannot fly on a helicopter without it. Most ambulances, you can't have the National Registry Paramedic Certification without that. In that guideline beside it, this is something everybody in the room can look up. At the top of that algorithm, it'll say you transport to the closest appropriate facility. And if you go into the back of the book and look that up, it's got all these fancy terms like tertiary care facilities, so I didn't want to bore you with the details, but it basically says a stroke center. Because guys, like I said, you've got a very short time. Even with a helicopter, most of the time you don't make that time. So if you force somebody to go to Scottsburg, they don't have a neurosurgeon there, they don't have the, probably the TPA, streptokinase and these things, but, so even if EMS did take them there and get a helicopter, providing the weather permits, you're still running a really high risk, you're still sometimes not gonna make it in that window, and that means your family will either die or have deficits the rest of their life and be in therapy for months, maybe years.
Well, it makes sense to get them to the quickest place that can.
Quickest appropriate in those situations.
Actually, they do push, I don't know what the drug is, but they will push the drug in the ambulance, because I've seen them do it,
Not
so.
this one, this was thrombolytic therapy, only the
Wow.
doctors can do that, we didn't even carry that on the
I
helicopter.
don't know what they
The reason I say
push,
that
but
because,
they're
There's
pushing.
two kinds of strokes, Mike, there's hemorrhagic and there's neurogenic. If it's hemorrhagic and you give that drug, you kill them instantly, so ambulance can't do that because you have to do a CT scan first.
Yeah.
That's why this time frame, and this stuff I'm telling you guys is days-long courses, so I'm giving you the down and dirty version, but if an ambulance gave that drug, you'd be dead.
Yeah.
If it was a bleeding stroke, if
Yeah.
there's a
We
neurogenic stroke.
should, you with Dr. Crosby Monday.
Yeah, I think we are. Yeah.
Yeah, should be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. He was gonna be.
Well, I will assure you that you will get some kind of answer.
I appreciate that.
And really, the answer, yeah, the fact is, you know the answer. They didn't do, they didn't
I'm
have
here
it.
because
But the biggest thing is for us, I think, is to make sure that if that's a matter of policy, then we need to look at that.
Yes, sir.
And if it is, then we certainly want to follow it,
My
whatever
heart's in the
laws
right
is out
place.
there.
I don't want to argue with anybody, but, I love my parents, they're getting ready to move back here, they're from here, and we
We all
love
do.
our family, guys, but if we know something's wrong, there's no saying, you're part of the problem or part of the solution, so I wanted to bring up the problem, and I can show you the solution, because I was privy to be on these flight teams with board-certified trauma doctors that will tell you that is the wrong thing to do. And I can three-way call him, with Dr. Crosdale, or any of that kind of stuff to help you guys out, to show you that it is wrong. I can reassure you, I promise you. So that being said, our hearts, everybody here is in the right place to help people, but I'll give you that information, get it's real easy to get. Give it to you, but I'm just here because I don't want to see your mom, yours, your loved ones go through what mine has. If it's a one-time incident, yeah, you might spank that paramedic on the hand, but the lady just said it, the extended care facility been doing it for years, forcing people to go. Can't be down to the last ambulance that many times, so we got a more problem than just getting down to the last ambulance, but like I said, the last ambulance, if the other counties aren't doing that, why are we? But you got a good solution, Mike, that's what we did. We added a third ambulance. Jeff helped me do that, he was one of the supervisors back then. Jeff back here helped me a lot with that stuff, John and Lisa, so this is not the first time we fought this battle. There's a different set of commissioners here last time we fought it, but
Yeah.
Jeff back here could probably speak and tell you, we made those changes, and it worked. There were some things people didn't like, things I didn't like, but we have to do what's right for the people, for our loved ones, And I know you guys want to do that too. That's why I'm here to give you the problem and give you the solution, so I'm not part of the problem. I'm just trying to help out too, so I just want you to know that. I'm not trying to argue with anybody. I just want everybody's here, family, to be as well taken care of as I expect you guys to do for my mother.
Actually, I appreciate you bringing it to our
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah, thank you for bringing it to our attention, and like I say,
Appreciate
we
you guys
will,
listening.
we will.
It's pretty serious stuff,
Well, yeah.
Sure is.
Yes, Don.
Just for their sake, when do you think we can get back with them, give them some information? Just a thought. I mean, they're asking us,
We're
maybe
gonna,
we should give
again,
them.
we're gonna, I think we'll be, I know we'll meet with Dr. Crosdale Monday night.
Yeah.
I would think
We
after
could
Monday night.
Well,
Yeah,
When
I
you-
mean, we could ask it what the SOP is right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
tomorrow, and find out what
Yeah.
what their criteria is and how they come
Gentlemen,
up
if you
with
would
that.
like, I can be very professional, talk professional. I'd be glad to meet with you too, meet with Dr. Crosby. I happen to know him personally because the previous medical director, we fired him because he just wasn't on board with things, and we actually hired Dr. Crosby, and he did a good job, so I know how all that works too, but not all doctors are right. Not saying Crosdale, but like I said, the previous ambulance service, we had that other medical director go because he wasn't doing the best things for our citizens. And that took a big battle. That wasn't just me. That took Lisa, John, that took a bunch of us to get that done, but we made it happen. So I know you guys are in the same position to make it happen again, and I really appreciate that.
Donnie?
At the same time you're looking into this, I'd like to look into why they would no care for 33 minutes.
Yeah,
And why they didn't take nothing in and they have to go back out the truck to get anything, sounds like to me.
I've got that down.
Well, I think we can do our own little investigation till Monday, I'm
Yeah.
picking that number out, we're gonna be meeting with Carlisle Monday.
Yeah.
Then or we get back where I'm concerned, maybe, I don't know how we do that, all three of us, but, somehow or other meet with you guys and let them know exactly what we found out and what we're thinking. But I think we owe that.
Yeah. If, before you leave, if you would, Adam, make sure that we've got a phone number for you.
Okay,
I don't know if
I
you
think I got it.
If John's got it, just make sure that, give it to Tammy or something there and make sure we got a phone number.
And like I
with it.
said, once again, if you need me to meet or anything, I'm not gonna try to run the show, but I have an expertise just like everybody in the room does. You know, everybody's got a place, but I've just been privy to have a lot of good information.
Yeah.
Now, but I'll give it to you.
Okay, all right.
But,
Yeah, just make sure we got a
Meet
number.
with Dr. Carldale or any of you, because I visited this with him before, like I said, when we had to change medical directors, so believe me, we kind of remember each other pretty well, and
Well, he gives, I will say this, because we've, this isn't the first time we've looked for a director, but in interviewing past candidates, one of the candidates actually was a paramedic in Louisville, and he was kind of giving them the lowdown of what he was allowing his paramedics to do on a truck before they ever get to the hospital, and she was flabbergasted that he went that far and let them do so much. So it's not that they don't know how to do it, and it's not they haven't been trained to do it, but it's just, you know, while you're, you know, the story, and I'm not saying it's a story, but, you know, the information you were given, it's almost flabbergasting that, you know,
It really
that
is,
somebody
man.
does it. But usually I see, I mean, I was on the overdose case the other day, and I mean, and it's bam, 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 things happening, and it just usually doesn't happen that way, so I don't know what happened, and I hate the heck that it did happen, but that's, and hopefully that's not the norm, so.
I agree, it is flabbergasting. I know back, you and I worked together many years
Oh,
ago,
yeah.
just like James, John, Jeff back
Yeah.
there, many of us in here. And you remember when we fought the same battle, that's why when I moved back, I like the word flabbergasted. I witnessed this with my own two eyes, and I'm still sitting here flabbergasted. Believe me, it's been hard to keep it, not make it emotional, try to keep it factual for you guys, but.
Yeah,
Mike, it's.
Not
just
saying
like-
it- not
that's why I
saying it-
worded it reoccurring. This is
Yeah.
unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
1993, 4, 5, and here we are back.
well, it's disheartening.
We got a
that-
county service. That's
It's
amazing.
disheartening to know that there wasn't any patient contact, so I mean, and that's
Two
just,
times.
that's just not
You know,
part of
back in
anything.
our day, Mike, Jeff can tell you, Jeff and I worked a lot of time together, we would have loved to work for a county ambulance service and have a station. We talked Don Terry into remodeling that old station we had down there, and we were happy to get what we could, but these guys are spoiled, and they make, Jeff can tell you what we make, Jeff, $5, $6 an hour as an EMT and $8 as a paramedic. I would
And
love
happy
to work
to have
here.
it, right?
Yeah.
If these guys don't like their job here, guys, I suggest send them a new home, because this is an outstanding service. I
Yeah.
was told about the new $800,000 building and how much money they make. My jaw hit the ground. I was like, Jeff, tell them. You can back me up on this.
I don't think it's just.
Jeff and I about cried together one time going to get a pizza. We had to split it. I mean, so now they're spoiled. I mean, so.
All right, we'll move on here, and like I say, we will get in contact
I think
with
I
you.
got it here, 423.
That's it, yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll get in contact with you in the next few days, and like I say, it may be after Monday evening before we do, but we're gonna, I wanna find out myself. I'm curious, because, you know, we want the best service that we can offer, and that's not, if that's.
And I'll let you know too, Bob. Other places have these problems. It's just not here, but.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I never wanted to be the director. I was asked to take it. I was young, didn't want it. But later on, Rural Metro bought us out, and they made me kind of, I don't know what you call it, senior director, and I kind of helped with Floyd County and Clark County. I was young, it was over my head. I did it for a year, gave them everything I could, and I went on to pursue my dreams to fly. But probably made a lot of mistakes, but my heart was in it. Jeff can tell you, me and him's had arguments. We've had good times. We about cried together. But Jeff was one of my supervisors, and he did a great job. And he can tell you, it took a whole team of people, including commissioners and guys. It's going to be the same way. It takes all of you. It takes
Yeah.
everybody to have their heart in it to make it happen. So I thank you guys for listening. I thank the last set of commissioners and the people sitting in the room like Jeff, Donnie, James here. Definitely John, you and Lisa were a huge help in it last time, so. Believe me, it was a battle I was young and didn't want to tackle, but I did. And like I said, if I made some mistakes with the ones here in the room, I apologize, but I have since.
We all do.
Long way since then. I've got a lot more knowledge now in that, not just the political side, but the patient care side, because we all learn and we grow, but I'm here just to give you that information so we can do the right things as a team again. It takes a team.
All right, we'll move forward, and thank you, and we will get back with you in just a few days here, promise you that. First up is the north courthouse entrance there. Mitchell Allen Ritz Architects, come on up.
I think Tammy might have printed one, but I'm gonna give you a larger one that's probably a little easier to read.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Same information.
Okay.
You want one? You can hold on to it, we have one. I'll address the commissioners here, but I'm not sure how it works as far as sharing the information, but we
You're just talking
You're-
to us.
just
Yeah,
talked to you,
you're talking
okay, that's fine.
Do whatever you want.
And feel free to say it if you like.
If you guys, you're welcome to have a seat and it will actually pick
Yeah,
you up when you speak. We have software that's,
Yeah.
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
intelligent software here, so it will.
Make
All
yourself
right.
at home.
Yeah, you sit down.
Sure. We came up with 4 different thoughts because I know there's a lot of detail to go into this, but I think you have to physically see what we're talking about and what the results are to be able to make more specific decisions to move on. So I'll just kind of walk you through a little bit here, but A1 is the smallest, most conservative option, and I'm not sure, Mike, if that's has anything like what you were
That's
talking about,
That's pretty
but
much what
Yeah.
if you're bringing the floor up to the same level as outside, it's pretty much what I
right,
was talking about.
and that's what we were thinking. You removed, since you have flanking stair sets, we sacrificed one of those. Now, the one thing we did not like was keeping the door on the front because you have a real pinch point, and I don't know how you can get people going into the elevator and at that as your front door and keep it all monitored. So we had to close that front door. It could look like a fixed glass.
You
but
could literally
not.
lock it if you want, or we could
Right.
put a storefront in there.
But then we would add a door on the side,
So where would you enter at?
on the right-hand side there. It says entry right here. We would put a door on the side there.
So
Now,
you're talking about on the side of the building.
That's where the
Yeah.
posts
We're talking
are.
this picture
where
right here.
there's a
but-
slot window there, and we would.
Okay, I'm looking
Yeah.
at the drawing.
That's where the mailboxes are, right?
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
you're
They
still,
come
no,
inside.
they're still on A1, but, again,
So you're talking-
No,
on
we're on
A2, you can see where you're talking
You're
about.
entering off to the east side of the building.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right, I get that now.
It leaves the existing front of the building as is, but that's part of the drawback. This entrance is a bit hidden, and it is gonna be your front door, so might wanna talk about signage or even a covered in, something maybe to put over the,
Now, on that one, you are at the, you're at the level of the elevator landing, and it shows, it's pretty tight point shown in there. We might be able to open up that first wall, but I think the second wall has a handrail on it. We'll probably have to leave that.
yeah, and the drawback is everyone funnels through the elevator lobby here. So that's what led to the option 2, where we were thinking, is there a way to keep the stairs so that some people could just come in and walk up. And you have a smaller area to work with, so we thought it may need for an entry, because I know Tammy, we talked about I got concerned about people waiting in line, and I think if you do this, it's gonna be one person in, and you're not gonna be any further along than where you are right now as far as people waiting out of the weather or waiting on their turn. But there are some trade-offs there, because we were considering you would add an addition here, a small addition. And we tried to do the 3D view to give you an idea of the volume of what might be considered.
So that one takes out half the stair, it takes the stair that goes down, but we retain the stair that goes to the other floor.
So I think that splits your circulation, your amount of people, I think, kind of going up and,
So why wouldn't you go all the way to the wall and take the stairs out.
Then it would be the first scheme.
Well,
No, I
with,
understand, but
with
what
an
you-
addition.
You created an addition and you're entering off the north side of the building. But-
Our reason was that at that point, I feel like you have the same pinch point that you have now. I don't know that you're improving anything, I guess.
Cause if
From where you are.
you walk in off the addition you made and you're walking in and you have a free flow, like, you know, you're going through a table or something, just like you have out here, and then you go through a metal detector and you go through something else and then you're free to go. You're not technically leaving through a metal detector, so I mean, you know, we are now because that's the only entrance and exit we have, so.
Right.
So in turn, I didn't know why you would not utilize the whole room, so, or that
Well,
whole area.
we could, and then we would be kind of combining the first idea with the second one. If
Yeah,
we
that's
took
what
that
I'm
stair
saying.
out, then you would have some viewing space there.
That's what I'm saying, cause I mean, the stairs, to me, you got stairs on the other side. If you wanna walk up or down stairs, you can go through the hallway where the elevator is and go up, down, or whatever you wanna do. But, I was just kinda curious why you, cut the room, or you didn't cut it in half, but you pretty much cut it three quarters away. But,
I think mainly this one would allow a lot more people to get in the door and be waiting to go through the
Yeah.
security. And especially the whole COVID thing, you know, if we're trying to get people to spread out and not be on top of each other. It's just another option
Okay.
to consider.
alright,
If you go to option 3, then this is where we look at popping out the front of the building with a divided entry and exit.
Now, the elevations of those, there's some existing canopies over the entries there. So this would be the roof structure of this, and the ceiling would be the same depth, so we're imposing on the existing architecture as little as possible. And then,
And this one's a little more solid, a little more brick, along the lines of what the type of construction you have now, but it would come out a little more three-dimensionally in the front, I guess is how you would explain that.
so what's the size of that room?
Right up here, he's got square footages on
Okay, 325.
on all of them if you want to look at that. And then option 4, you can see there still is not a lot of space to wait here. Some of it depends on how long you want the x-ray table to be, and we can talk about. This is the maximum that I think anybody would want, and I really think it would be less when we got down to the details. And then the 4th option is if we go out to the limits of where the sidewalk is now,
the
which
concrete
gives you
semicircle.
a good idea of the scale. And this one would give you the little, it's the most extreme, but it's the most
Spacious.
formal entry, stately entry. It's divided, it's secured, but there's space for people to stand around, I'll loosely say, either entering or exiting, waiting on people, or spreading out. There's just a little more space. This one was done with a glass facade to try to minimize the impact to the building, but
And the roof structure is similar to the other one. We try to come out where those existing canopies do and just kind of expand them.
and, you know, if there's things you like about different options, we can try to combine things. If you want, you know, more brick on one, or if you like glass but you want it smaller, yeah, those things are flexible. We just tried to show a lot of pictures so that you could think about it.
Yeah. Any of them would work, it sounds like it. What would look best, what would be most efficient. Option 1 would probably be the cheapest, I'm gonna guess. But it would also create less space, maybe some people that stand out. Of course, we have that down here now where we are. There's not much space.
Let me ask you, rule of thumb, what is it on commercial buildings like this, the per square foot to build, on an average, what are we thinking?
This is small, so whatever I tell you, it's going to be more than that, because the price goes down as the project gets smaller, but, I've been doing,
I mean, per square foot.
yeah, per square foot, yeah. But we've been building things, commercially for about $200 to $300 a square foot. So you're doing the math.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, 200 to 300, you're saying?
Yeah. Now, the internal one would be different than that may be
Which one?
the one that we're just building inside.
Yes.
That would be hard to call though, because we're removing that stair, we're filling in a floor, so some pretty heavy structural work in there, so.
Well, and that's what I was wondering there, I mean, is for what you have to do in drawing A here, A1, and then what you would have to do on the A4 drawing right here, I'm just wondering how much of a big of a difference it would make. I mean, because you are probably gonna have to do more on A1, as far as being able to shore that floor up and make sure that it's gonna be, you know, to where, I don't know, on the outside, I don't know which one way, you know. John, you said you thought maybe A1 might be the cheapest, I don't know that it would be, I'm not for
Because
sure
the interior
A4 would be, huh?
Because of the interior work?
Yeah. Yeah,
Could be.
and,
About double, it's about double.
The
It's,
size.
it's, $68,000 for, if it's 290 square feet and it's $220 or $225 a square foot, then it's $68,000, but if you're talking 550, it's, about 168,000, so.
okay. Okay, yeah,
I said that wrong. So you're not right.
So let me back up then. Option 2 might be,
121,000.
option 2 would be adding more outside space, right?
well,
You wouldn't have to-
1 and 2's in standard.
inside,
Actually, 1 is the only one that doesn't change the outside of the building.
Correct, yeah.
2
Yeah.
puts you a little
Well, outside there.
entrance area and doesn't take out the stairs, but,
Well, the big question is we wanna pursue it or not? And if we do, we wanna, this is me talking, we wanna get like 2 or 3 other people involved in the courthouse, maybe a judge, maybe a sheriff. Let's take a hard look at this.
John, if I can just, to that idea, I don't mean to speak out of turn, but I know we're scheduling a meeting to talk about, I know later on the agenda, we're gonna talking about the other space issues we've got, and I think this would be an excellent thing to talk about in that small group too. I've not seen the plans, but I have a lot to look at before I leave, but
Okay.
I like what I hear. You know, so yeah, I think taking the plans, getting a small group together, including talking about everything that, you know, from soup to nuts as far as what we may need to do, and that might be part of a renovation project that we may need to look at on a little bit larger scale, or maybe not, so, but I think that's a great idea, myself.
Okay. That's my thought,
Yeah.
right there. And once I suppose once we get our little group together, we could meet with you all again and we could start narrowing down and change a little bit here and tweak it here and there.
Yeah, and we'd like to be involved in the
Yeah.
meeting if we can, just to help direct some questions that we have
Yeah.
about usage and. Okay.
well, actually, I'm kinda impressed with the other drawings, so, might be something different. 'Cause it doesn't, I mean, from what I was picturing, I guess, the front of the building is the front of the building, and
We just roll 2 containers together and stick them out in front of the building.
nothing wrong
Is
with
that
that.
what you were thinking?
2 porta cans out
I,
there.
It's a pretty
I know
popular,
there's portable trailers.
it's pretty popular,
Well, what does the
concept.
city do with that Santa castle?
We got a tent over here.
Yeah.
we can run them through that 11 months out of the year. I do like them myself, I mean, I like the outside entrances myself.
I do too.
I think it's going, I mean, I think, and I think it would, and that's what we talked about was, people wouldn't have to be standing in the weather too. And, but I do like I think it matches the facade to the
Yeah,
front of the
that's-
building, and so I do
that's a
like
big
the
one.
ideals there, but
And that-
let us kick this around here and,
Got the card?
we got your cards here and we'll get back with you, but, again, I do think we need to at least offer this up to some other people and get their thoughts on it and see what they think.
I gave them to the last time.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So-
think that those last two do something else that these first two don't, and that is
Thank you.
maintain
Appreciate it.
your formal presence,
Yeah.
versus tucking people around to the side, which is part of what some of the concern is right now, so.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it just looks better myself, but.
Well, I hope
Rather
we can
than
do,
lock the front doors and.
I hope we can do something, because this down here, I just think it's working, but it's creating problems, I think, for the office holders who are right on top of it and space issues.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
We'll
Thank you.
call you, I reckon.
Just
Yeah.
let us
Yeah, we'll
know.
let you know.
Thank you.
Information's good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next up is Malcolm presentation for fuel tax savings.
I don't think he's here, is he? He never showed up, Charles.
Nobody here?
Jill, you mind talking about it a little bit?
Thank you, Angie.
I mean, we can talk, I
Yeah.
mean, just so they'll know where we're going.
This company contacted John, I think at a commissioner's meeting, they came up and met with him, then he came up and met with myself and Pat. And there is.
That Forbes.
Yes, there is supposedly a fuel tax that we are not getting a return on from the state
Ah,
that,
you're kidding me.
that his company, can go back, is it 2 years?
3
John?
years.
3 years.
3 years.
And get the money. He wants half of what we can get.
No, that's not exactly right.
Oh, that's.
They'll
what he
do
told me.
500 a month,
Oh, that's.
1,500. And if we make more than that, that's ours, that's his max.
Okay, he met with John after me, when he was with me, it was half of what we recovered.
But it all comes down to, he says there's some special taxes for certain vehicles. And mostly it's about our ambulance and about our highway department. And we're missing probably $500-600, $6,000 a year probably or more, that we're not getting back. And, he can help us do that. He said he's already doing it for Washington County, so I was gonna do a little checking there. I actually wanted to run it by our attorney first, and of course, we have the health issues now too.
He wants to present a contract,
I've actually got it right here.
and I would like for John to
Yeah,
go for the least amount of time, because eventually I think this is something we can do ourselves.
and he's quite open about that. He says, this is not something that you guys can't do.
Yes.
But we weren't even aware of it, and most people aren't. He's came in, we can probably make ourselves $15,000-20,000 if you go back the first 3 years. And
How far can you go back?
3 years.
3 years.
So you're saying that, he's saying that his fee is $500 a month,
But 15 a quarter is what he does, yeah, yes.
so 500 a month,
Yeah.
but what's he saying that we can recoup in a year? Not
Depends on
going,
what-
not going back 3 years.
I think we're
It depends on what
talking,
we spent out.
I think we're talking $6,000, $7,000, $8,000.
So if he's charging us 6 to get 6, or where he's charging us 6 to get what?
We'll get, I don't know exactly my answer.
Because,
But we will get money back we're not getting back now, and I think it'll be around $6,000 a year. I
That's
think
what
that's
he's
what
gonna
he
charge.
told me here.
that's what, if he's
And-
paying 5, that's 6, and that's,
And if you just to take it on the top that, we can do that, I agree with it. I think Jill probably could work it out, her and Pat. But we wouldn't even know about that for this guy. We'd be getting nothing.
But did I understand you say that it was $500 a month up to a maximum amount of $1,500?
Per quarter, 500 a
it's
month
500
max.
a month,
Or
15 for the
$1,500 a quarter?
Yes.
6,000 for the
He
year.
files
Yeah.
it in quarters.
And they would get 6,
is why.
we'd probably get 6.
He files it in quarters, is why he's telling you what the
He
fee is
does all
per
the work,
quarter.
yeah.
He files it in quarters.
I guess I got a question, is that a county doing it?
Yes, Washington
He
County.
said Washington County is. We,
Alright, so if they know how to do it, then why don't we ask them how they're doing it, and we'll just do what they're doing?
Cause this guy's doing it for him, I
this
think.
guy's.
I think the truth of it is we can do that,
If we,
but at the same time, I'd say a 3-year contract or something. I mean, he turned away for us. Anyway, we'll
Anyway,
get back
it
with him. He was
shows,
supposed to be here tonight. I'll call him.
let's get some more information. I mean, if it's something that we can regroup, I think we do. But I'm kinda like, and what I'm hearing, maybe I'm like Mike hearing this wrong, but if it's $500 a month, that's $6,000 a year.
Mhm.
So, undoubtedly, that's 50% anyway, if you think we can get $6,000 a year,
If we
correct?
get more than that, they still just get their max.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I told him that I wasn't willing to sign anything until I went to an attorney.
Yeah,
I guess the other part of that is how, and I'm not saying the state doesn't, keep their share of money, because, you know, I still don't understand how truck tax, we don't get any of it. You know, or any county gets any truck tax, excise money, but how did, if this money's out there, then, and this guy says there's a way to get it, I mean, how does everybody else not know it?
It's a very odd configuration
It
based
is.
on the exact vehicle you're in. If you're on a paver, it might be 7.2% that you get back. If you're in a triaxle, it might be 15.6.
So somebody at the state just could be rolling it over and averaging it out and going, there you go.
So, I mean, it's
But he gave us
based
a,
on the specific, he gave us all the paperwork.
yeah, he
I
gave
mean,
me all the
gave us
counties and
sheet.
everything here that's doing it already.
And I will say, our fuel company, which is WEX, is, the printout is good enough that
There's some of the
it's
areas
gonna be
doing
an
it now.
easy job.
Yeah, there's some people who are doing
Got
it
some
now.
spare time, but
I told Lori she was gonna have to do it.
If I can get a hold of it here.
so,
There's some of the places doing it now.
so where's this money go when nobody knows where it's at?
It stays with the state.
Says it's state.
I could tell you, but.
It ain't going west.
I was hoping you would.
You know, years ago, when we had the pumps down at the garage, we didn't get any of the fuel
Yeah.
tax back.
Yeah,
Then we went to the WEX program and they got the regular fuel tax back for us. But supposedly, he's saying there's this specialized vehicle fuel
Yeah.
tax that we can get back.
has a lot to do with transportation and different things, yeah.
He has a list here, of course, got the city of Angola, city of Carmel,
Yeah.
Carroll County Emergency Medical Service, Clinton County, Dearborn County, Grant County Emergency Medical Service, Henry County, Howard County Highway Department, City of New Haven Fire Department, Pike County, Pulaski County, Putnam County, Ripley County, Steuben County, Washington County, and the city of Westfield Fire
He
Department.
invited us, he said,
So-
please check these counties.
Yeah, so,
I got a meeting tomorrow with Phil Marshall, so I'll ask him. what
ask him
he's
about it,
doing.
yeah. See what-
He's the president of the board.
but again, I think if it's, you know, if it is 50%, then that's what it is, I guess. I mean, it's better than nothing. 50%'s better than nothing.
That's where
That's
I'm
what he
looking,
said.
if it's just a $2,000 or $3,000 for a year or two, and then we take it over ourselves somewhere along the point, and we get the full
Yeah.
max out of it.
Yeah. All right, well,
But I think we'll let our attorney look at it,
I do too. I
and that
do.
might be a month from now, so.
All right. All right, Marty, you're up next.
Then,
Thank you, Jill.
because you cut
Thank
down. I know.
And I want to say how much we appreciate Jill letting us cut in front of her on the agenda. She didn't even kick me
You don't know
as
what
I
the
walked by.
payback is, though.
I know.
She ain't gonna kick you, but all your tires is flat when you go to the parking lot.
Before you gentlemen, in your paperwork tonight, I believe you might have our end of the month report from July.
The last thing in your packet,
Did you find it?
I put it in your packet.
Okay, you put it in their packet.
Yeah, I got it.
We
Yeah,
had,
yeah.
June and July have been exceptional months. And the only reason why July of 2019, which is connected to that, is even up to this July's activity is because we had the Dollar General store in last July. But we had 22 permits issued, over $4,000 in Fees collected, added 883 some $1,000 in valuation to our townships. And of course, pole barns are still the favorite. But what we're here tonight for is to emphasize once again that Ben Petty, our building commissioner, truly needs a vehicle to drive around in. He once again has, here in your newer packet with the letter, you've got his mileage log, which was a little over $200 once again. And that was his last mileage log. And now he started, of course, on a new one from mid-July to today. And it's just as hard to get around. He'll probably have another $200 a month to request for mileage. And that's, again, only 40 cents a mile. So, once again, we are requesting, we've got a little bit of information. Ben was familiar with Eddie Gilstrap over at Salem, and he talked to staff over there, and they indicated, of course, with the government being involved, that you could get $8,000 to $13,000 off a 2020 pickup, which would put it, I believe there was one,
they're all lower than what even a Ford
Yeah.
employee can buy the vehicles for. And I got 3 models there, kind of from the lowest grade, kind of just get you around, good solid truck, to 2 levels up above that. But it's got the net price is what it would be for the county to buy there for those 3 particular trucks. And really the difference in the trucks, the lowest priced one is pretty much a straight work truck with a V8 in it. And the next 2 vehicles have got the EcoBoost 6-cylinder, which has a little better gas mileage. And like the second vehicle on your list is Wi-Fi ready and stuff like that. It's got some features in it that the cheapest truck does not have.
So do they do a lease to own?
I didn't ask them about a lease. The information I got from them, which I deal with, of course, Washington County a lot, is the way they do it is through a local bank on balloon payments once a year at a very, very low interest rate, like a lot lower than what they generally do for public. And so that's the way they have bought almost all their vehicles in Washington County through them that they've got, and said, you know, they did a balloon payment like 3 or 4 years with like a 1% interest on it. But like you can see on like these trucks are like 13,000 less than what somebody from Ford can buy. So he was telling me different models, but I asked him about 2019s also, like new old stock. And he said the deal is the concessions are a lot less, even if they haven't been previously owned. If they're a year old, you don't get as much, and you don't get anything on a used vehicle. So I priced out on one page there's some used vehicles, 60, 70,000 miles, and they're $10,000 more than what you can buy a new one for.
Yeah.
Because you don't get that concession back.
Yeah, you don't get the government
And,
pricing.
and of course, I dealt with Ford because I was a Ford guy, but it goes all the way through any manufacturer, any dealership. But you just asked me to get you some information on some of them, so I did it on the Fords because I'm a Ford guy. So
Well, this is just me personally. I don't wanna buy any new car. For, not just cause I do believe you need a vehicle. I just think we're overloaded with cars right now, we gotta start cutting back a little bit. I do believe we have a vehicle or 2 we could quit you for a while with over here. It's not the best. One of them might be very nice, I think, if we work this out. But, all that being said, I'm talking about something for now. You can take this very stuff if you want to, and put it in a budget for next year, maybe the council will give it to you. But I'm not ready to. I just don't see no more vehicles right now, we're overloaded. And it ain't your fault. I do wanna get you a nice vehicle, I think you need a radio, I think, or something, but I do believe there's some things we can work out here, but this is just me talking.
No.
But budget's what, next month?
Mhm.
I mean, you could put in for it and say, that's up to them, but I'm not there, I'm more like if we get a vehicle now, we need to get rid of one, or maybe two. And you're a special category, you probably need one worse than some other people do, because I think you're out in the area sometimes where, nobody knows where you are, it's outside of your radio, telephone. So
And there have been times when I've
Yeah.
tried to reach him and he's been out and
Yeah.
I can't get him.
I wanna get him something, I just don't wanna get nothing new, I'd rather work with something what we have. We'll take a hard look, I've looked at some of the vehicles, I think they'll work for a while. They may not be the permanent solution, but that's just me talking.
Well, I think that, position needs a vehicle. And I know I was looking for my paperwork from last meeting, because I think you brought some on Chevrolets from.
Josh brought that,
Yeah,
and I'm sorry, I don't have it.
And I had it, but now I can't find it. But, all these trucks are in the same ballpark. They're anywhere from 27 to 31, depending on what, if it's a Dodge, a Chevy, or a Ford. So, the state government quotes are always within a few $1,000s of anything. But I understand where John's coming from with this COVID. Our finances are gonna be upside down in the next couple of years for a while. That's why I was asking about a lease, because, I know Jill leases trucks and semis, or dump trucks and stuff, and you can budget a lease payment easier than you can budget the full price of a truck or a vehicle, so, and that's what she does. I mean, she takes a $100,000 truck, and over 3 years, she'll pay it off. I mean, but her budget's a lot bigger than yours, so, because you don't have a budget. So, I don't know, I'm for getting you a vehicle, and because of your, job description, it needs to be a four-wheel drive, and I don't see a reason why it wouldn't be a truck anyway, so, I would like to see, what the lease number would be from Gilstrap, because I think we know what it is from, John Jones, so if you can get that, I'd be more than happy to look at that, but then again, what we do here is going to go to the council, and the council's gonna either nilch it, or say they don't have the money, or, pretty much say that.
That's what I said, he can go straight to council next month if they want to do any budget.
Yeah, but I would definitely, I would look at
Actually, we'll be doing that on the 11th of this month.
I think you need to, find the least, and that's what I told Josh, because I know they're looking for a truck, and somebody else is, or a vehicle. And I said, you need to look at a lease, because I think they can choke a lease payment a lot easier than they can choke a big one lump sum of a truck. Or a vehicle, depending on what it is, but I'd get a lease, or a lease to own, and, see what that price is, and then when you do your budget, I'd make sure, just as I told the coroner the other day, make sure you're putting your money in there, because they don't have to come up with it. So,
The vehicle I was looking at over there was, and this may not work either, but the, emergency management director, the big one over there, it's been sitting quite a while. The big, what is that, a Ford?
Yeah, it's a big Chevy.
It's a Chevy.
It's a, that thing.
It's a 3/4 ton.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
gas mileage and,
Well, that'd work, wouldn't
it gets you around. It's a,
it? I mean,
it's a way too much of a truck for what
I
it
venture
do,
to
but
say that
it would get you.
EMS,
Yeah,
But
I
it,
mean,
I'm
Is
not
somebody
trying to be
driving that
difficult, but
now?
we got it.
No.
It's there, it's paid
Is
for.
somebody driving it
And I
now?
thought about
I don't
that.
know when I go to meetings and such.
Well, that truck there too, I always thought if you'd mentioned something to me about that, and I thought, if that's a truck, it's not gonna be used for that anymore. That truck would probably buy a new truck and another one. Because it is the 3/4 ton heavy. It's probably worth more than what a new truck and maybe part of another vehicle actually
that
be
truck was
worth.
bought to pull the trailer.
Right.
Right.
And it's got a specific
Right.
need, so.
Probably a grant, wasn't it? Yes.
But
Probably
here's-
borrow a grant for it.
Here's,
Yeah.
here's one thing that I'd like to be
It was
looked
back
at.
to-
And I know you drove a, was it Tahoe
Trailblazer.
Trailblazer?
Mhm.
And, you know, and my understanding, the miles, what was it, just a little over 100,000?
99,000.
99,000 miles. And I know you said it had trouble steering or whatever.
That's an
You know,
understatement.
well, I guess my question is, you know, why don't we get it looked at and see what it costs to fix it?
And I drove it, I drove it.
To me,
I
to
drove
me,
it.
lots of times, and I'm not talking about full-time forever, but to
Right.
get us through until the
It needs-
COVID stuff's over. But if, you know, if we can, even if we gotta put a $500 pump on it or whatever, and new tie rods, whatever, you know, you can spend a couple $1,000s, and it's a long way from having to make a payment on one every year, or a lease payment, if it will make it safe.
And
And if
I
it's
drove
not, then we need to put that thing in an auction and slide it on down the road, is my opinion.
I drove it.
That's
and
my
it's,
thought.
Of course, I wouldn't drive it the same manner you would, you got some lot rougher area, but outside steering, I thought it was pretty nice.
It did the speedometer work and stuff when you drove it? Cause
Yeah.
it didn't when I drove
Yeah.
it. Nothing worked, none of the
It was-
gauges.
It run like a sewing machine.
I don't know.
What is that, a Chevy?
Trailblazer would be, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had the keys to it and I made it
But
to.
it does have power, steering issues.
Yeah, but, and plus the speedometer didn't work, and they said it worked before, but they took the sirens off.
Well, you may be right on that, I thought it was, but I wouldn't swear to it.
Yeah,
But I don't know, I just don't think now's time to be buying new vehicles.
Let's, and again, we do have a bank out here to pull from, I think. Let us see what we can, again, I'm like John, you know, I'm not, if your budget can handle a lease price, then that may be one thing, but as to buy these, I don't know, we can send them all day to the council. I think we're gonna send them back and say, if you guys got the money, you can buy it, but, you know, I just don't think we have it right now. I think we're gonna have to find something to get us from point A to point B, here is what I think.
And like I said, we got
That's
more
kind of
vehicles we
the
know
thing.
what to do with.
Yeah,
Some of them gotta go.
Well, we don't.
yeah.
Well, we
Yeah.
own them.
Yeah, we
We
own
own
them. Yeah, our name's on the title.
We'll pull them out of the parking lot.
But, let us see what we can do. I know that, and again, I know that even the,
I guess I'm gonna ask a question. I mean, I know I've said four-wheel drive, pickup, whatever. In the meantime, I guess I'd like to say, I mean, if we got you a car that you could put a metallic or a metal magnet sticker on the side that says Scott County Area Plan, I mean, would a car work for you? Cause some of those are front-wheel drive, those, the ones that.
you know, it probably would work 98% of the time. It just might be a time I have to make a phone call and come and jerk me out of here, cause, you
Let's see
know.
what it takes to get that Trailblazer running, would you mind doing
That's-
that? I think that's our best option at the moment.
Yeah.
But there's
I actually
a-
like the big one, but I understand that's different,
But you got, community corrections,
yeah, they got
got
that.
a, you know, I don't know what it is over now. They got two vehicles over there, they're getting ready to turn in, or they're not turned in, but they're buying two for two.
Mhm.
So,
I think it was Chevy Caprice, is that right?
Impala.
there's an old Caprice over there,
Yeah.
they're turned in,
Ford?
I think they're Chargers.
All
I
right.
think somebody mentioned to me they was getting some,
One of
they
them's
was
a black
doing-
one, one of them's a
they didn't
blue
mention
one,
that to me, just
yeah.
said there's a couple of Dodges getting ready to be retired Chargers, so.
But they're going to a pool, so I mean, we've already okayed those cars, so they ought to be replaced by now.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and that's money they had in their budget, but
So you want him to get information on leases available?
I wanna see a lease price and
Okay,
just see if we can
and
float
you
it.
guys are gonna look around and see if you can find something?
Can we get that car back?
Can I butt in on the lease part?
Yeah.
All that is, we just go to Scott County Bank and we tell him what we wanna pay for how many years. He doesn't actually tell you it's X amount, so it's just that amount divided by how many ever payments you wanna make, plus just a hair of
So
interest.
forever?
Well, no, but I mean, you could do it 5 years out, I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Hold my calculator up here.
Well, you know where I am. I think the Trailblazer will work for a while.
5 years, it's $6,000 a year basically, that you're paying back. So you're looking at the 500 a month,
483.
yeah.
Five.
We'll make some calls.
So technically, if he goes to John Jones or goes to Gil Scrap and they're gonna sign the truck, he's going to Scott Case State Bank and they're gonna say,
Right on the check,
here's you a check for your truck and you're gonna pay us X amount of dollars for so many years.
yeah, it comes in front of you all, just, yeah,
And we decide how many years we wanna pay for it.
yes. Even the date that you wanna pay it, they let you decide the date.
Okay. Well, that's news to
Are
know.
we okay with getting the Trailblazer running while we're talking about all this? So,
Well, I think it's,
I mean, then if we can get that in good shape, then
I
we'll
think we
see
need to
what we
have-
wanna do.
I think we need to have it looked at and find out what's wrong with it. And
Yeah.
If there's an electronic issue, then it needs to be fixed, or if it can't be fixed, then we need to send it down the road.
Yeah, well,
Well, you guys working on this. I mean,
It's down.
Yeah, cause I can remember Linda Dawson coming to you guys and saying, the lights don't work all the time, you know, the turn signals don't work, the gauges don't work.
I thought she drove the white one.
That's what
That's
this
the one
one
we're
is.
Yeah.
I thought,
That's it.
you're talking about a blue one.
no,
No.
the blue is the Impala.
No, I thought there was a blue.
well, I agree, let's see if it can be fixed. If not, let's take the radiator cap off, put a new vehicle under it, what do you think?
Well, I do know this much. It
Okay.
might take some work to get it up to par, but it did run awfully good. But then again, I'm not a mechanic, so.
Let's see what we can do there, but, and I know, we did find one, I think, for Andrew. But, we'll keep whittling till we get everybody what they need, and you need one. You need to have something that's gonna be marked when you're out there, the building inspector or whatever.
Probably need something.
Yeah, I
So,
agree.
It's just the timing's not the best for me.
okey-doke, find out lease pro, I guess that don't
By the
matter.
way, thank you for what you did to that house out on Lake, South Lake. I've seen work done out there.
Yeah, roofed and shingled now.
I saw that. It's all
Yeah.
new roof on it, and I'm sure there's a lot of neighbors happy right
Yeah.
now.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
Also, when you, talking to the architects, I was sitting back there thinking, you know, somebody that might be valuable on your committee would be this guy right here, who's been in construction for
Sure.
35 years.
Good idea.
And he could probably
I'll
say,
go along with that.
I
"That's-"
do, I agree.
yeah.
I don't have no problem with that.
And you notice I did that in public, so he couldn't
Yeah, I
hit
was
me
gonna
or
say,
anything.
yeah, it's like, now I know what it means to get thrown under the bus.
I know.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Or a
Thanks for your time,
trailblazer.
Thank you, Ben.
guys.
Thanks, Marty. All right, Jill, you're back up here.
She just said a lot.
Okay. I heard that, Dale.
What'd you go way down there for? You watch
Cause I
Mel or
don't like
something,
that
or what?
owl right in your face. Sorry, Andrew. I came to you all, in April and talked to you about another slide that was happening, on Liberty Knob. And you signed this paper for me. Do you remember this letter?
Let me see what it is.
Okay.
That was here.
Yes, you were, your signature's on it. It's talked about due to the rainfall in April that we are asking for the Natural Resource Conservation Services to look at the program where we had damage and see if they would possibly do a grant.
Your name's on.
Which we thought there was no way possible they would do the grant, so I really didn't even present the grant paperwork. But then we found out they emailed the papers and I filled it out and we got the grant.
Good.
So, with that being said, you need to sign the grant paperwork, but I already have the grant
Okay.
that they're waiting on. And what it is a company will come in and the price is, on the last page, of course, $164,835. The grant is for $127,372.50. So the county would be responsible for $37,462.50, which I do have in local road and street.
And that place you're talking about, if that goes, we're talking major.
Oh, major.
Major problems out there.
Major, yeah.
And it would, and after talking to Chad, it's like, we've tried to fix it certain ways over the years. And
Yes.
we're doing just we should be doing it a different way, and this will be doing it the way.
Yes, this out here
Yeah.
is just a game compared to what that would be,
And you
if
might-
it goes.
If we drove right by it, you may not even realize it's an issue, but
Right.
if you look down,
Right.
yeah,
And,
it's out on,
it's about 2 miles off of,
Is it past?
out there by Ron Shirley's out
yeah,
there.
on Shirley's.
Is it
I
past
can think of the
houses?
name.
Property out there?
It's out by the lake, out of the lake.
Yeah, by the water, yeah. And also, speaking of, kudos to Chad, because he contacted, Bobby at Jefferson County, the highway superintendent over there, and he's the one that first told him about this guy. So then when we called, the guy was like, yeah, I'll email you stuff, but again, I didn't think I would get it, so I didn't. So that is the actual grant.
Okay, so do you have the application
No.
form? Okay, I have his stamp. If they will go ahead and approve the grant application request, then you can make one up later and I will
Yes.
stamp it if you guys so move.
I'll do it
And
tomorrow,
then that will go to council on the 11th.
and you'll put me on.
And
So you don't, I don't need to do anything here?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
that's the real grant, but the county
We're gonna
has
ask for
a
forgiveness
grant
later.
paper that you're supposed to come to you all before you even apply for a grant. So she's gonna stamp it, so
Okay.
just, yeah,
And then council will get it on the 11th, but
Yeah.
it's one of them ask for forgiveness
Yeah.
things.
Yes, I
Because it's
understand.
better to
I'll make
ask
a
for that
motion
than
to
to miss
accept
the
the
opportunity.
File for the grant.
Absolutely.
Motion made, second. I'll make that unanimous. And then
Hope you get it.
me too.
that's.
I've
and then
got
you'll
a good
stamp that.
feeling about
And then
this
you,
one.
then we'll need a motion to accept this grant, is that what you're saying?
And and she has the funds appropriated already, correct? You do not have to go to council?
No, I have to ask
You
them.
have to ask.
Yes.
Oh, I was.
Have to ask council,
Yes, I have
but
the
it's
money.
money you have,
Oh,
you just
yes.
gotta ask for it.
All right.
You
It's not
just-
in,
It's, you're
no,
good.
yeah,
Okay.
it's fine.
So we have to make another one?
Motion to accept the grant.
Accept
Yeah,
the grant.
I'll make a motion to accept that grant we just applied for.
And receipt.
Second?
Whatever you said, I'm for it. Second.
All right, I'll make that unanimous. And,
That's the quickest grant we ever got.
I know,
Now all we gotta do is get to work.
yeah. And it's just you, and I'll fill out all the other dates and stuff if you'll just sign.
So-
We're kidding, but
Why-
when will you think you'll be able to get started on it?
I mean, he is he's emailed wanting this paperwork back, so I told him I'd give it to him tomorrow morning. He's
And-
acting like they're ready.
And they would, well, we'd have to close that road down for a month,
Yes,
and they would repave it and a whole bit.
I don't know about the paving.
Okay, so that's
I'll find
new.
out,
Yeah,
but
we
yeah.
did that, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the issue here is that we're not doing the work,
No,
someone else is doing
Yes.
the work.
yes.
Mhm.
And Jefferson County has used the company that is doing this for 3 of theirs, and Bobby said he's done great work, so.
Do we have to, I mean, I'm all for this, but is there any, do we have to do any bidding?
No, it's under the amount.
Okay.
It's only 100,
All right.
or not only, but
All
I
right.
will, real quick too. I think Marty emailed you all about the roundabout. Did you, Marty?
Which roundabout?
I'm not sure.
Well,
Well, anyway, the roundabout out here on Boatman, Marty had got some information about when they are letting it. So within that, then on August 3rd, Monday, I received an email from First Engineering Group stating that First Group Engineering is under contract with NDOT for an intersection improvement located at State Route 56 and Boatman Road. So anyway, it's the roundabout. With our project, we propose posting a 35 miles per hour speed limit on Boatman Road, which will be lower than the existing speed limit. The lower speed limit is desired due to construction of a roundabout. In dealing with previous projects, an ordinance was needed for an official action in the lowering of speed limits. So he asked who would be responsible for initiating. So I need to answer them back. I think they told you they're letting in 2023. Is that right, Marty?
They will let that bid in 2023, and they will start construction in 2023.
So you don't have to decide tonight.
They're just wanting a 35 mile per hour speed limit on Boatman.
But it has to be
I
an
assume you mean
ordinance.
as they approach that, not necessarily the whole road.
He just says, that's all they say, on
Okay.
Boatman Road. They don't say,
And what happens if we don't?
We can do it from Mount Road to 56.
Or somewhere?
then you'd have to go.
Out the other side of the city.
Slow down.
South
you're already
Boatman's in the city
burning.
limits,
Barely,
but it is,
yeah. Well, it's county, city, county.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
anyway,
that's clear as pond water.
well, I thought you'd like that. But anyway, there you go. You can,
Speaking of roads, 56 that opened at
Open.
noon today.
Yeah.
Thank God.
yeah, I actually
Uh,
texted you that.
Yes.
And also, because I saw the markers, I called the state about, in front of the hospital. And evidently, there's a project that's gonna happen, and he's gonna give me some more information on it, but from the Dollar General store at Frame Street to the Moonglow stoplight is gonna be, there's gonna be 2 more lanes there.
There's actually going
Soon, or is that like in the, yeah,
They went out there because I was at the hospital, and the hospital administrator said, what the hell's going on? So we walked out there, and they already went out and marked the,
they mark, but I don't think it'll let till 2021.
yeah.
But they are also going to do guard railing and a project where Marty went off
What the hell they ought to.
the road there, under the bridge out here.
On the north side of
And
Marshfield.
during
all
the
way.
day, they are wanting to shut Marshfield while they're doing construction work, and then they'll open it back up at the end of the night. But they don't have a start date yet on
I
that.
think I seen on that, that's 2021 too.
Yeah,
I
so,
think, but I'm not for sure. Okay.
that
okay.
roundabout, the last time I
So-
talked to them, it said 5 to 10 years.
Well, I mean, yeah. You
They
would've talked,
they just keep going in circles. They
That's
can't,
where-
they never get
yeah.
done.
yeah, you would've talked to him in 19, so 20,
Yeah.
22, 23.
Yeah, maybe
Four-
20, maybe 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So whatever, speaking of roads, and I don't know if you were involved in that, whatever happened with the Hardy Lake Road?
I was wondering about that too, but the culverts.
With the 13 culverts?
Nothing,
Nothing
nothing,
again, ever.
nothing. They've not done anything.
No
Yeah.
plans, nothing,
It's just
kinda-
sitting.
It just
whatever.
yeah.
I don't think they wanna attack it with everything else that's going on there right now.
Yeah,
Is
because,
my understanding.
because the end of it right there is, tore all
Pieces.
to pieces, yes.
Okay, anything for me?
How's that on burn day? It looked pretty good.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
They
It
got
does look
the
good.
other section done, and they will paver patch the third section, finishing tomorrow,
And the third section, is that
yeah.
all the other end?
But it will just be a patch.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
That was a very wide road, that cost a lot of money, so, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
All right.
Thanks for helping out at Park.
Yeah.
Health Department,
Good evening.
how are you?
Good, how are you guys?
Wonderful.
Good. I have some grant requests.
I'll start out with the easy one first.
These
So
already approved.
they are not. I'm doing the paper that Jill's talking about. So the state is using some of their CARES money to give every local health department money to do IT improvements, and basically you just accept it and use it all by December 31st, or you don't accept it and you just lose out. So I'm getting with Andrew and we're getting some updates, but I just need you guys to approve. It would be $85,826.71 is what Scott County would get for that. And it's just for IT updates for local health departments. So we're looking at doing some updated camera systems out there, computers, monitors.
Servers, battery backups.
Yeah.
Possible cell phone boosters,
Mhm.
you name it.
Yeah. So.
Kind of 85 grand in IT though. You gotta just build a shopping list.
Yes. So.
Was this 100% grant?
Yep.
We like those.
Yeah. Yep.
I'll make a motion.
Is it, and I'll second. Where's the grants from again?
It's from the state. So the state got federal CARES money, and they are giving it to
Okay.
local health departments to improve their IT structures. I think some like really rural counties like don't have Andrews that keep stuff up to date. So unless they get money like this, they don't really update it.
I second.
All right. Motion been made, and second to allow you to, apply for the CARES grant, and I'll make that unanimous, so, and
You
what, sign that?
sign that, please. And then these next two kind of go hand in hand. I emailed you guys about it, and it's kind of just playing. It's playing by ear. I don't really know how it's going to end up, but I need to have everything in the works. So, because it's going to happen quickly. As you know, the COVID testing site, the state has contracted with a company called Optum, and they do it at the Armory every day from about 7 to 2. They have to close down early because of the heat. They had somebody.
Somebody asked me, is that, you have to take your insurance card and
They
charge your
ask
insurance, or
for the
is it free?
insurance, but I don't think they charge it, or if they do, I think they charge it like kind of on the back end. Like it's free. Like no one will receive a bill. No one's
Okay.
received a bill that I know of, even if.
That somebody asked me, is it free? And,
Yes.
So it
yes.
is free.
They tell us to advertise it as free testing.
Okay, all right.
I think it's one of those things like the state later on will bill insurance and you won't ever really kind of see it.
They're gonna take a number and go, hey, here's what
Uh-huh.
it is.
Yes, from my understanding. But they tell us to advertise it as free. And so that's at the Armory now. And like I said, they don't have air conditioning. They can't do fans because of safety reasons. It gets really hot in there pretty quickly. Like I said, Friday they had somebody pass out, unfortunately. And so the state has offered, and you guys might have gotten an email about it. I know Iva did. They have offered local health departments based on your population money to do COVID testing. And so Scott County will qualify for $100,000, and that would start September 1st and go until the end of June of 21, with a possibility of another $100,000 for another year, which is scary to think about. Like we're going to be needing COVID testing until 2022, but that's another thing. So we're exploring the option of taking the $100,000. We do not have to take it. And possibly working with the hospital to help staff it, because at the end of the day, $100,000 is not a lot of money when you're talking about rent, and you're going to have to compensate people at a higher rate because of the risk of that they take on doing the COVID testing. And there's stipulations on it has to be open past 5 o'clock so many days a week. You have to be open so many Saturdays for so many hours to make it accessible to everybody. So we're trying to see if the hospital will partner with us to kind of help staff it and take on the administration piece of it, and then possibly us just be a pass-through. Another option that we're looking at is possibly just working with Optum and keeping them in town and having them maybe move to the place where we want it, which is the old health department building. So I have a letter asking for, or I have an application asking that we pursue the $100,000 if we feel like that's something we can handle. And then I have a letter saying, can we use the old health department for COVID testing until at least June 30th of 21 up till June 30th of 2022. And I would also like to request that I would also like to request a possible hold or reserve of $100,000 of the county CARES money that you guys got. I think you got about $775,000.
Well, it's there in
There,
case we
yes,
need it.
yeah, and so you guys have, that's money, Teresa told me that you guys have strict, I guess, leeway on that, control over. And that would be strictly like reserved for COVID testing needs if we ever needed it in the future. I would come before the board with a detailed budget before any dollars were spent.
All right, back to the armory.
Yes.
Is that a county project? Is that a county project?
Not now, no. The county does not pay any money.
Okay.
I could, actually, I don't
But you're
know.
associated with it.
Not really.
All right, here's where I'm going with this. I believe there's still 3 or maybe 4 air conditioning, portable air conditioning units at the John Jones building. Why don't you take one down there and put it in the
So
building?
I've offered that to them, the Optum people. They're, the person I talked to is up in Wisconsin. It's kind of like a corporate bureaucracy.
So he's in the
crap.
air conditioning, he don't care.
Right, yes. Yeah.
She's in Wisconsin. Don't need air conditioning. No.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jerry has offered me that and offered me, I don't think it's that. That one has to have water. He's offered me another one that's
This
just a
one flies
generator
up
power.
water and it's got a big fan that this rotates.
Yeah, he's offered me those and then another one that's generator.
Yeah,
And they
he's
just kind of
got
keep
that
giving me
one
the
that's
runaround.
out here.
Right.
But if you move, the other question is,
Yeah.
if you move to the health department, will those people move to the health department?
Well, that's like one of the options that we're trying to figure out
So
from
they
the
got air
state.
conditioning out there, so.
Right. So if we take over that building, could we just keep Optum? Because with Optum, we don't have to do any of the administration. If somebody doesn't show up, it's not our problem. They have people that they can call.
I'd say it's a win-win.
It is.
How long are you gonna be needing it?
Well, like I said, the $100,000 that the state wants local health departments to take to do the testing is good at least until June 30th of next year. But there's an option that they would give you another round of funding until June 30th of
And
2022.
I'm just asking, there's no way you can do it in the building we got now?
No, I would
There's no
not.
space back in there we can't open up and
So we've went through it with the sheriff and he's offered us, or I say he's offered us, but we've talked about using space back there that he's currently occupying. And it could work when it's warm outside, but there's not like any kind of bathroom space, there's not any kind of break room, and then if we're doing it in the wintertime, there's not any kind of.
Quite honestly, I don't think you want that many potential COVID patients
Exactly.
walking through the health department.
Exactly, yes,
Okay.
yes, and that's kind
Especially
of why.
then the immunizations for kids and that kind of
Yes.
stuff.
all right, I'm
Exactly.
catching up, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know, we're kind of at a crossroads, but I just kind of want your guys' the main thing I definitely need approval for, asking for approval for, is to use the old health department building, no matter what, for COVID testing. Whether we ask Optum to move from the armory to go there and do it, or whether we take this $100,000 and work with the hospital and do it there.
So, back to the company that's doing it now.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not paying them anything. The state has sent them down here and the state is funding
Yes.
all the testing.
Yes.
How long is the state gonna continue to do that? You have any idea?
Right now, it's month to month, so they are scheduled to be here to the end of August. This, from what I hear at the state, is that they will not pull them out until either a local health department takes the money, any local health department takes the money in your county and then you have a site up and running. Or if you can't get a site up and running in your county, they will leave Optum here.
It sounds to me like the state's giving us $100,000 and they know good and well the $100,000 is not gonna cover it.
Well, it started out at 50. And every health department was like, like, everyone's amount was half of what it is now, and everybody was like instantly, no, like, we can't hire anybody for that for a whole year, let alone like 3 or 4
Kinda
people.
like the housing prisoners. You know,
Yeah.
they want you to take it over, but they don't wanna pay for it, so.
Right. So yeah, they will definitely not leave a county, they've said they will not leave a county without COVID testing.
Well, I guess my thought is if we don't take the $100,000, then they can't ever leave.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, but right now I hate that it's only from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. because of the heat.
But if we move them into our building,
Right, I would
then
hope it would be 8 to 8.
they could have air conditioning and have a little bit more of a
Yes.
convenience.
Yeah, because right now, they're doing about 75 tests just in that short amount of time. So if they were able to be open 12 hours, 10 hours a day, like, they could do so many more people.
You think we got enough parking out there? I mean, does the hospital allow users?
I mean, Dr. Avery's office is vacant right now, so that kind of opens up a little bit of parking there. I mean, technically, the hospital owns that parking, right?
Yeah, I think we'd have to have their permission to use their parking.
Yes, Marty,
I just,
you can go.
I just received a phone call, and he was calling me by accident. He should have been calling the city of Scottsburg. But there was a gentleman that wanted to, they're trying to start some big renovation project down there at the Armory as well. And I can, from what he told me just over the phone in just a few minutes, it sounds as if it's going to involve air conditioning, et cetera, so it's going to be quite a renovation project, and they probably need to move from that facility.
Okay.
I spent 2 years in school down at the Armory, you know, so.
So they're
they
planning
can
on
tough
keeping
it
them
up.
out?
Was that the same grade?
Fifth and
Just
sixth.
asking.
Fifth and sixth.
Okay. I don't know, we weren't a part of like getting it set up at the Armory anyway, so we've just kind of been informed with stuff there as we go, and like I said, their contact's up in Wisconsin, so.
Well, I guess my question is that, again, is it Optimum?
Mhm.
Or whoever it is, I mean, if we were gonna contract with them, what's their fee?
So we wouldn't necessarily contract with them, we would just say, here's a site that you can use until this
Cause right
date.
now,
Is that the reason they're using the National Guard, building down here? Is that?
I think it
is
was something with the
state-owned?
governor, yeah.
And
because,
so
like,
they're not paying anything for that?
I don't know for sure, but like, I think that was like when the governor said the National Guard needs to go out and help do testing, and they did all the strike team testing throughout the state when there were outbreaks in factories and things like that. So, I'm not sure. I know a lot of counties that have the testing do it at National Guard armories.
See, I guess, and I would think that might be the reason for that, but then again, I'm sitting here thinking that, you know, if Optimum could get the 100,000 too, correct?
Well, they're getting paid, I think, a lot more than $100,000.
Then I'm wondering at that point if now that becomes, if they've got to move out down there and they need a place, does that become something that we could even lease our building to them?
Yeah, I don't know. I can ask. I definitely know that they're costing the state more than $100,000 based on how much I know some of those people are getting paid per hour.
and they're only working half a day.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess
I'd be for using the old health departments, just sitting there, so.
I am too, other than, I mean, I would just hope that, in my opinion, I guess they would take care of utilities and all that under
Well,
their
I
watch,
reached
right?
out to the city, and asked if that's something that can be waived for a period of time. Mayor Amick seemed to think that could be possible. I
Well,
think
that's also falls into the category of the $750,000 sitting out there for COVID, that it is an expense due to
Sure,
COVID,
yeah.
and we can bill that
We
back.
can bill that back off against the COVID
Yeah.
amount.
Well, but the only thing I'm looking at here is, you know, Optimum, is that right?
Optum, yes.
Optum?
Yes.
They're getting paid for this, folks.
Yeah.
They're getting paid for every test they do. Now, you know, if they're getting a free building and free utilities and everything else, they're not they are an independent contractor that's got the contract to do this.
Right.
I'm saying that, you know, they need to pay up.
Well,
That's my thought.
Lease the facility.
Lease the
I
facility.
understand that for sure, but I
At least it
also
include utilities. We
think
can
of like the
make it
greater
on-
good of like having an accessible COVID site in our county for, you know, 8 to 8 every day, or Monday through Friday.
I agree
That
too.
benefit is,
I agree too. But let me ask you, and through them, and that's, again, been part of the problem here, that as I'm trying to understand this, like everybody else, but what is the turnaround to get this test done? Is it still the 72 hours or whatever?
this, probably the last 7 days have been less than 48 hours, actually.
Okay.
Some people have been getting tests on like Monday, and they like getting their results before like the end of Wednesday. So it's
Okay.
getting better, but then a week ago, it was like 5 days.
Yeah,
So it kind of just depends on what they're seeing at the lab.
okay.
If
So
I
what's
messed
this-
it,
what's this
in
15
the old
minute
building,
test?
is it ready to be used? I mean, I know.
Yeah, I think-
The 15-minute
I mean,
test
I
is
know
a
the
rapid
condition
test.
of it.
Clark Memorial does them for all their inpatients, and then there's a clinic in Seymour across from Bob Corner that will do them,
The water
but
has been
they only
turned
have
on.
like 20 to 30 appointments a day, and it's like first come, first served. You gotta sign up at midnight, something crazy, because people get in there and want them. So, but yes, they do have the 15-minute rapid tests. They're hard to come by because you only have so many cartridges that can do so many tests and that sort of stuff.
I don't have a problem with them using the building out there, I don't.
Okay.
But again, Josh would probably have to go out and turn the water on and make sure that
Yeah,
it's not shooting up through the sidewalls and everywhere else.
Well, we talking
I
2 or
will
3
say it
years.
needs
it's
a
been-
new hot water heater.
Yes,
AC is gonna have to be looked at.
yes.
I mean, everything, every light in that building is gonna have to be gone through. We had flood water in there last time
And
from
that would be our bill, wouldn't it?
a hot water heater.
Well, that's what I think some of this COVID or the CARES money could pay for.
Okay.
And then I've already asked the sheriff, and he said that his inmate crew could help touch up the landscaping because the porch is covered in poison ivy right now.
I mean, I don't know what they'd have to have, but we'd have to have the necessities for them.
I think it would be,
Yeah.
I mean, I think if it can be used, I'm for letting them
I do
use it.
too,
So,
I don't know if you just walk in and use it though, I think.
yeah, I think,
It needs a little.
I think if it needs
Yeah.
some tender loving care, I think, Josh, whatever you do, keep a track of your time, any money you spend, or any services you have to go and have
Can we
done.
get grants for it?
No,
Hope so.
Well, that's what
we've
I'm-
already
that's
got
what I'm
grant.
saying.
Yeah, we
The
can
money's
turn
already
it in
there,
and
we
get
just need to turn it in to
reimbursed.
get our money back.
And so that's why I'm like asking like you guys like reserve some of that CARES money for us because we don't know what life is gonna look like in a year.
Sure.
And
Yeah, but I don't know if that money, I don't know when there's gonna be a point in time when they say, you didn't use it. So
Exactly.
it's going back to wherever it came from.
And that's like with this IT money that the state is using their CARES money, we have to use it by the end of the year. So does that money have an expiration date of the end of the year?
I do believe you have to, and that's why they're talking about getting the claims in, everybody
Right.
getting things in. So that is one of the goals in the month of August, early September, is to go back and gather up all the claims and to try to, like invoices and expenses, and then
I'd say
start
that.
a chain of, reimbursement requests for that, which will be brought to the
Wheelchair ramp
commissioners
has to be
for
worked
approval,
on.
so.
So you don't know if it has to be spent by the end of the year?
I think it has to be submitted and ready to be reimbursed before the end of the year. So they're working on the details of what, kind of like your last day to file it, because
Right.
they won't probably distribute it until after December 31st. So
Right,
you've
but
got
it
a
has
last
to be
day file.
expended or invoiced by
Yes, by
December
December
31st.
31st.
I'll make a motion to allow the health department to, offer the building, the old health department building for Optum.
Optum? Mm-hmm.
Got that right after 4 times.
Yeah.
And I guess we don't know how long that's gonna be, so I guess we'll say month to month, so.
Okay.
And I'll second that.
All right, so that was just for the building, for the allow Optum for you to use it.
Okay.
Second, I'll make that unanimous.
Okay.
And we're assuming they'll wanna use that, right? I mean, that's, if we give them, they have a choice, I mean, is that like?
I don't know. I didn't want to offer it to him and not really know. And like Josh said, it needs some TLC. So, I
But
guess.
the other part of that, I think we need to find out if we're offering it to them, but I mean, if there's any monies that we can, you know, well, I mean, just like Bob said earlier, this is a privately owned company and they're making money off the state somehow, so I mean, and if they weren't in the armory, they'd be,
Right.
they'd be somewhere else renting.
Right, well, maybe we use some of this 100,000 to,
Well, my question with the 100,000 is if we accept or if we fill the grant out for the 100,000 and the state goes, okay, we gave you 100,000 to have your own, you know, that obligates us to fund the rest of that.
right,
And whether we're, you know, I understand the state or the CARE grants, 750,000 or whatever's out there. That's probably gonna come out of that, because, you know, it's gonna be a cost to the county for whatever services rendered, so.
right.
So that's what I would, but I don't know about the 100,000, because like you said, once you do that, and they give you the 100,000, they're gonna step back and go, hey, Optimum, you can go, because
Well, yeah, and I've gotten mixed messages on if that's the case or not the case. Because we would prefer just Optum still do it all.
that's where I'm at.
Because we see every person that gets tested there, we can look at the results,
Is there a deadline on doing that?
the 100,000. Basically what they said was that you're not obligated to take it if you say, like, I've said like Scott County wants to, like, we're looking into it, we're thinking about it. And they said, the state said, we're not obligated to take it unless we sign the contract. So they said, just keep moving forward if you're like even on the fence about it, because contracts at the state take 2 months to get, start to finish anyways. But we don't, if the contract comes tomorrow or end of this month, I think they want it to start on September 1st, that even if we don't sign it, like, it's fine, I mean, that's fine.
What are they gonna do if we don't sign it?
Right, that's what, I mean, like, we don't have to take it.
I don't think it's I think the
It's a
program,
double-edged sword.
I think the program is so vague that it's, you don't even know what the program is, so my personal opinion is I'd say don't do it.
Yeah.
And
But then, I
then
feel
if you have
like
to
we
do it
need
down the
to,
road-
if Optum is gonna go.
yeah, if you have to do it, then that's a different story, but right now,
Mhm.
you don't have to do it. So how many people are gonna say, you know what, just leave it like it is and leave status quo?
Right. So then I guess maybe by the next meeting, I'll have a better idea if Optum's gonna pull out or be done with, if the state's not gonna renew, because we're at the mercy of the state with Optum. If the state says we're not gonna pay you, then Optum's done.
Yeah, I understand. But they also told you that they're not gonna leave you high and dry at that
Yes.
testing
Mhm.
facility.
Right. So, lots of unanswered questions.
What's your guys' pleasure?
I think that, I'm like you, I think if it's going to, they're gonna move out on you, I think you'd be well off just not to apply just yet for the 100,000. That's my thought.
Yeah.
I think we can probably, again, I don't know all the logistics of this yet, that's something that Tammy, you may have to look into, but, you know, if we can, earmark 100,000 per year for COVID out of the CARES Act monies, that's one thing, but there may even come a time when, at that point, you, like Mike said, you may use or lose it business. So, I mean, that's something we need to find out, I think.
Right.
But I think on that, I make that tight a little bit, that's just my thought. for
So
now.
as far as if Josh goes in there tomorrow and say we need a whole new air conditioning unit, can you guys approve to do upgrades to that building with the intent that it would be used for COVID testing and that be paid for through CARES money?
But until I think you have you have to spend it and then ask for it back. So you always have to have a fallback plan B to where you've got your expense covered,
Mhm.
because you're not guaranteed that you're going to get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can make a claim that it's COVID, but if Optum doesn't want to take that building,
Mhm.
then we've spent the money to upgrade it and we don't have an occupant, and then there's no COVID reimbursement.
We'd have to have an agreement with them that that's where
We
they
would
want
need to be
go.
assured that that was the purpose for that building.
Okay.
Because once we spend the money, we can get our money back, because it's gonna be a facility that is COVID related and
Okay.
COVID testing, and it wouldn't be any different than them going and renting a building someplace. We're
Right.
just supplying the building, we're having to maintain the building to get it to the standards that somebody can occupy it, so.
Okay.
So what do you do, Michelle? Do you contact them, say, come and take a look at it, or how do you do that?
I don't know, I guess I follow Lisa in Wisconsin.
I mean, we're
Yeah,
all for it.
I think that's what we'd have
I
to
know,
do.
I mean, it's hard, because she's up there, and then,
Yeah.
you know, they don't really have any idea what's
I
going
mean,
on.
maybe
here.
they have to tell you exactly what they have to have. and then they
Right,
can
but I
take-
understand what you guys are saying too, like, you don't wanna put money into that building if,
And then nobody,
Right.
they
I
not
guess-
use it.
I guess can you get in that ramp door, up the ramp? It's
Yes.
not like full push,
Yes.
correct?
oh, yeah, you can get in either door,
So maybe take them, show them the building, and
yeah.
then I'll go look at, I
Okay.
mean,
But the ramp itself needs work on it.
And I would suggest that
But
the
you can use it,
document
you can
be
use it.
generated,
Yes, yeah.
that
The
they
ramp.
are for
We not-
COVID
Do
testing.
we not have any Roundup, we can go out there and spray on that?
The inmates are gonna,
the yeah, trustees are gonna go out there, and Russell's gonna take them out there and clean it up. I got a chainsaw for them to take out there to cut some
I have a
stuff
maple
down.
tree out there,
What?
there's a maple tree. He
There's a
said.
maple tree, I guess, growing up in there.
Growing up where?
Just in the front
Up
of
in the
the,
front,
landscape.
Even the whole front porch has to have whole new railings and everything. That's almost dangerous. It is dangerous.
he said they could probably sand it down and then repaint it for us.
I hope you're right, but I mean, I've seen places get cut on out there.
Yeah,
Well, like I say, again, I think we're gonna have to have a commitment from them that
okay,
they,
that
yeah,
makes sense,
before we could do anything else.
okay.
Once if they will commit that, yeah, they would do that,
Mhm.
then I think we can do whatever we need to do in a timely manner,
Okay,
real timely.
yeah, I'm saying,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
okay.
don't think.
How
it'll
long
take
do we
long.
have?
Like I said, the state, if you go with their option of taking the money, the 100,000, they want you to start September 1st or ASAP after September 1st.
So we're short timed on this.
Right,
If we're gonna start repairing, we need to get on it.
right, yes. So, I will try to get up with Optum and see if they're willing to move. Sounds like maybe they're gonna have to move based on what Marty's saying, I don't know.
Just my thought, no matter what we're gonna do, we probably have Josh go out there and check the place out and turn the water on, do a few things, see what works and doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's
Yeah.
go out and turn water
you
on
can-
and electricity and all that, and let's make sure it's, cause one thing I know for sure,
Sewer,
you can shut that place up, not go back there for 2 or 3 years, and it won't be the same place. when you
I
go
can
back.
tell you the number we're giving to me to put that place back in order.
I
It
think
was
it needs a little,
75,000
little
minimum.
extermination.
So, but just to get it operating is a different thing.
Okay, well, I will, get with Optum, see if we can get an agreement in place, and then kinda go from there.
Okay.
Do you guys have any questions for me about COVID or anything?
Yeah, got any numbers on that today?
We're up to 263 as of tonight,
11.
still 11 deaths, yes.
263 up from, what, Friday was 2?
Yesterday, I think we were at 259.
Out of 11, I mean, they all had preconditions, didn't
A
they?
lot of, majority of them were from the nursing home, unfortunately, yes.
Okay.
Other ones had pre-existing
Just what I'm seeing,
conditions.
I mean, me, you
Mhm.
tell me what's right and wrong, but I'm seeing a big concern with our closer counties down south coming our way.
Actually, if you look at the state map, Scott County has the highest positivity rate in our region.
Really, higher than Clark and Floyd.
Because they have a
They have bigger
bigger,
population.
bigger population,
Or the
they can
test-
test more people.
So our ratio of tests versus positives are higher.
Yes, so like 1 of every 10, about 10%.
So, and I know you've probably been asked this, but, and it's only for, I guess, my knowledge, because we don't really have a whole lot to do with that, but the school's opening up next week. Well, Austin
Austin,
actually
yeah.
opened this week,
Yeah.
and Scott District 2's gonna open next week.
Right.
Any major concerns? I know, I've talked to a lot of people that work in the schools, and they're all saying what they're doing to keep people separated, and,
Right.
but, I mean, any major concerns
I
on your
think
part?
that we have from the beginning been more strict as far as what we will allow. Because we do have that authority to say, like, this is the guidelines, but we want a stricter guidelines, which is, making sure kids are 6 feet apart. That's gonna cut back on our contact tracing, that's gonna cut back on the number of kids that have to go home for 2 weeks in quarantine and be out of school. We've been very strict about that from the beginning, and the schools have complied, so.
So,
I think you're either team go back to school, or your team not go back to school, so.
but is, most of the kids that are gonna be in the school are gonna be in a group type thing where if they know who they're always gonna be around, so if one of them tests positive, they're gonna know that 15 other kids that are around them are gonna be
Right.
quarantined as well?
Right, like more of like that elementary setting.
And are you still sticking with the 14 days?
Well, we have to stick with that as CDC, yes.
Well, I'm just saying,
Yes.
I mean, it's,
Yes,
because there was a lot of times if you go 2 days without showing symptoms, that it's 14 days no matter what.
yeah, it's 14 days, even if you get a negative test result, that 14 days.
If you're showing symptoms.
14 days if you've been,
Exposed.
exposed, yes. 10 days if you are showing symptoms.
I've got a question on that. If you have a student that is showing
You have like
signs.
somebody pictured in your mind.
Yeah, well,
On your bus
I'm
route.
trying, no, I'm just trying to think of this. If you have a student that, in a school system that is running a temperature showing signs of COVID,
Yes,
does the child have to be tested?
no,
So at that point, they would just treat it as
a positive.
a positive. The child would quarantine, I guess, for 14 days?
10 days.
10
They're
days.
symptomatic, unless they go to the doctor and the doctor says, your fever is caused by this other medical condition. And you can get a note and the doctor says, I'm confident that it's not COVID, it's this, they can return to school on this date.
So I guess my question is when you treat the student as a COVID positive case, then you go to the children that sits around them, and at that point,
Not if there's not a test.
but there'll never be a test. If is what I'm understanding, is there's never gonna be that test. They're just gonna say, they're showing signs of it. So now you've got 2 or 3 that's sitting around them,
Right,
and we're not gonna say they got a quarantine. It was,
right.
so I guess my question is, where do we break this chain at? Where do we stop this in its
When we get a
tracks?
positive test.
But
That
if
is
you're
when
not testing.
actions.
Well, if a kid, right, in Bob's scenario, if a kid has a fever, say, but his fever's caused by something else, and the
Sure.
doctor proves that, says that,
Right,
the kids that are around them, were they ever gonna know that kid had a temperature or had a symptom or not, so that their parent could say, you know what, I'm gonna go get my kid tested?
I would have to ask the schools, but I would say probably not, just because they don't on a normal.
Stereotype and it's HIPAA.
Yeah,
I understand that, but I guess my question, I go back to the original question. If the child has showing symptoms and running a fever, and they send the child home and said, you know what, these is all indicators of COVID. Now, you can take them and have them tested or not, but you're gonna be out this many days.
right,
The parent could choose not to take them.
correct.
So at that point, do we never let these other people know? And do we not quarantine the kids that was around that child that day or
Right.
that had been in contact with them? So at that point, it looks to me like we're just,
Self-monitoring,
I mean, you know, because by the time you know, by the time they would take, even if they took the child to the doctor, the next day or whatever, it would maybe 2 or 3 days before you tell these kids that, look,
Well-
it was something else, it wasn't
Well,
COVID.
that's the same with COVID too, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be 2 or 3 days. If
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm
They
saying.
leave school instantly and go get tested. It's still gonna be 2 or 3 days to know if it's positive. So,
That's it.
But they're quarantined.
that's why we were very strict on the 6-foot rule. Because if they're at least 6 feet apart, then whether that person is positive and got tested or positive or symptomatic and doesn't get tested, they're 6 feet apart, so they're not gonna be in close contact.
Except for school buses. And they're not.
Mhm.
Mr. Chairman, I have a 5-minute break.
Can I ask why? No. We will, yeah, we'll take a 5-minute recess.
How about pausing that?
All you gotta do is raise your hand, John.
It's like school again. Back to it.
We're about halfway through the agenda, just to let you know, and,
Stay tuned.
so,
It's 7:15.
it's 7:20, and my bedtime's coming up before long, and so let's move forward, what do you say?
Okay.
But if not, somebody's gonna have to order breakfast.
All right, thank you guys.
All right.
Call me if you need anything.
Thank you. All right, next up is the FireEye Cybersecurity Services Agreement. No, that's a mouthful. How are you,
My
Andrew?
brain's kind of like slowed down, so can we take a 5-minute recess? All right, I think you guys have the paperwork in your.
Just a minute, I've got
Okay.
Don't we have
Oh, Lord.
Mr. John or something? You know, don't we have a can?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okey doke. It's your
All
turn.
right. In November of last year, well, probably before November of last year, FireEye, he was a cybersecurity company, very big cybersecurity company, approached Secretary of State Connie Lawson's office with a grant for the whole state of Indiana to have a extra layer of security for elections to, I think, all elections through 2022. In November of last year, she actually passed a bill. So this is a mandatory thing for all counties in the state of Indiana. It's a excellent extra layer of security for the elections. When it comes for elections here, when we upload a lot of absentee ballots, we only have 2 computers in the whole courthouse that's actually uploading those. So our need for, there's always a need for good security. I'm not saying we don't need
What are
it.
those connected to the internet?
They go through the internet, but it's a encrypted connection to the state servers, which gathers all of that data.
One of the big concerns when I was up north, and I was talking about this, is, I mean, we're all on the same system.
Correct. We're all uploading to
Something
that
gets
state.
breached in Washington County, does it breach here?
The possibility of that is very, very slim to none.
Okay.
But say if they breach that transmission channel, say if they breach the state, which the state's on board with this too, so they've got this extra layer of security. But if they got breached, then every county's compromised.
So they must have faith.
Yes. So from us to the state, we're encrypted.
But
Well,
this is an order?
This is a bill.
Yeah.
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 I don't think
This
by.
is mandated.
I don't
Yeah,
think
okay,
like
better
by
word, yeah.
law you have to, but it's a bill that was
Required for
the state of Indiana. And it is 100% grant from FireEye by the state. All hardware and endpoint on the computer security is paid up to 2022 through that election time.
So this isn't costing us a dime.
No. After 2022 elections, part of the agendas on this project is, of course, at the very bottom, talks about future use of this in the counties, which there's no cost yet. Once it gets to 2022, they'll probably come to us and say, okay, you guys want to keep this?
Getting ready to get choked.
Yes. Because I mean, this is a really good layer of security, but also by FireEye, this is probably an excellent sales pitch to the state of Indiana.
But you also, you know, you're talking, what, 2 years away?
Yep.
technology's gonna change.
Oh,
in 2
yeah,
years.
anything can increase in 2 years when it comes to technology, so. So this is a mandatory thing. We do have the hardware in place. It has already been delivered. We're working through getting it deployed. There was a little mishap during shipment. One of the hard drives were destroyed. So they did ship a replacement, and we're starting, I think, next Tuesday, getting it fired back up, set up, do some tests, and
So as far as this cybersecurity in the, is it only gonna be on for the election, or is it gonna be on all of our stuff?
started out, the minimum was for election computers only. That was just a guideline, like your minimum to do this was election computers. In February last year, the Connie Lawson's office reached back out to him and say, hey, that's, if the county wants to cover more computers, they're more than welcome to. So
No additional cost.
no additional cost. So I probably will deploy this out into a lot of the offices and everything just for an extra layer. If it's not costing us a dime, we got 2 years of it free, might as well run with it, so.
Do you need a motion or something?
The contract I made up for you real quick, because I already filled some of it out. So if you just want to sign that, that just puts that in and I also had Josh Stigdon look over these contracts top to bottom. I was gonna have Mr. Houston do it, of course, but he was out for personal reasons, so. But he did look to that top to bottom and he is okay with it.
I'll make a motion to accept the FireEye cyber security agreement for 2 years.
And I'll second that.
I'll make that unanimous.
So I suggest in 2 years, get watching, because I'm sure they're gonna come with a hefty damn fee for continuing to use it, but like I said,
Correct.
as much as technology changes, it may be a totally different thing.
And you never know, in 2 years later, maybe the state tries another grant and continues it, or does some kind of program and it keeps running for a while. You
Well,
never know.
I'm sure with the technology that has, good and bad, technology that you can do remote voting and whatever, but, I mean, the bad part of it is, the bad people's got technology that can, hopefully, cannot do it, but you always have to stay ahead of them, but, I think with the technology and things moving in that direction, it's probably, you're right, they're probably gonna continue to have a,
Very good
their
possibility.
finger on the security of the
Elections.
information, so.
Elections is the big thing, and I mean, what's good is this is 24/7 monitoring, free of charge to us also, so if anything,
Somebody's watching it.
so yeah, so if something gets weird that device sees on the network, something trying to come in or something weird, I get alerted immediately, they get alerted, and they can actually close that port down immediately. So if something comes up, boom, it's shut down.
The only, I guess, thing when John made reference to that a minute ago, the only thing I would ask on that is, most likely, because it is tied to the clerk's office and the uploading of the ballots and that kind of stuff, if it was gonna be, I guess, hacked into, it would be during election time. But if they was covering all other computers, would that not give them access to everything else? You don't think so?
No, this is just a layer of security.
Okay.
This is just preventing or watching and see if something happens. I mean, we've got a really good layer of security. I've never really had
Nothing.
anything come. I mean, I watch the firewall logs. To be honest, firewall logs, there's stuff connecting to our external IP every day, all the time, non-stop.
Andrew, are we okay with like ransomware?
Yes,
We got that?
yes,
Okay.
we have very good ransomware protection.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I know some places got hit, it's costing quite a bit of money.
We have excellent ransomware protection right now.
Good.
So we got our personal computer at home hacked, and I took it to my friend, which is one of the IT security guys at UPS. And he actually was talking to the guy that was trying to hack the computer and
Oh, yeah.
he jacked with him for 20 minutes, having him do stuff. But
Messed
it was
with
in Norway.
What's
that
happening to
this
me
guy
here,
was at.
now this is getting off track a little bit, but, and you know what I'm talking about, Eric helped me with it. I got cloned this week, I didn't know what that meant, but they could start a whole new account with your name and all your information, they could run with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had to close everything out.
It's happening.
But that's on a
It's out
personal
there,
level,
that's what's
yeah.
bad. And to be honest, you can only protect yourself as much as you possibly can
Yeah.
as it advances and advances. It's not a time of, it's not if it's gonna happen, it's usually a matter of when,
Yeah.
so,
Just don't open up stuff you don't know.
correct. And to be honest, every employee in the county is actually excellent. You know, we've got really good filters on our emails. Sometimes something will slip through and a lot of the county employees will email it right to me and say, hey, this does not look legit.
Mhm.
They're really good at checking stuff and
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Good. All right. Anything else on your part?
Did we vote on that? I know you made a
made a
motion, I
motion.
seconded, did we actually vote on it?
Yeah, we actually voted on it, didn't we? I thought we did.
Okay.
Okay, the next thing up is, you, looked at the vehicle and good with the vehicle and.
Correct.
Got the vehicle
Yep.
and we need to ratify just the purchase of the IT vehicle and that was, the one that, actually Jerry purchased, through, commissary funds and, used vehicle and I thought was a good price on it. And
Yeah,
it's
it's
something that,
pretty
yeah.
decent price for it. It's just a nice little van. It's got racks and storage, everything, you name it, so.
And
So
you're,
we have to I mean, I
We
know
need
they're
to
all
vote
in
on
our name, but I mean, do we need to transfer that out of?
No.
I don't know how.
I just
none of
think
this
we need to vote on
works.
it.
When we turn it to inventory, it'll be in his, he'll have an inventory line, but your vehicle purchase policy is before any vehicle's purchased that it's brought before and voted in an open meeting, so we're just kinda doing the cart now after the board.
just ratifying that
Yeah, we're just-
that we did agree to do that.
Yeah,
So,
so somebody needs to just
What-
make a
what
motion to
year is it?
ratify that
What is,
purchase
you know,
for IT.
2008
I'll make a motion that we accept the purchase of the 2008
Chevy Upland.
Chevrolet.
Chevy Uplander.
Yeah, for the purpose of our IT man use.
Okay,
I'll second
I'll make it unanimous.
There you go.
All right,
And we're done.
appreciate it, guys.
All right.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
All right, next up on the agenda is the EMA and 911 director positions, and then also the EMS director interviews. Let's do the EMS director interviews first, if you don't care. I think you've got them set up.
We're gonna set them up best we can. We've actually got, I've got a couple applications that you guys had initially been given, because everything from the first round was supposed to carry the second. I just wanna make sure that your set's complete and you don't have to go back and dig in your other folder, so we've got copies for them. The carryovers from the first round of applications.
Well, I
we did.
took the applications I had gave you to the oversight board.
Right.
They got them all?
They should have, if they had the first round, they should have them as well, but we can double check and make sure that they've got these. I just wanna make sure you guys have the whole set from
Okay.
both rounds, okay? So
Okay.
I've got that, and then there was also, someone brought us an additional letter of recommendation that they wanna put in with their thing, so I'll provide you that at the end of the meeting. But we'll be scheduling there, I believe, if my memory serves me correct, there's a total of 7. So we'll probably try to do, or 6, there could be 6 to 7 people. I'll try to get you 3 and 4, for 3 and 3. I think there might be 6 actually, so we'll probably do maybe 3 one night and 3 another, so you probably have a second round. I thought at first there was maybe just gonna be 4, but there's 6.
And that would be, earliest would be what, Monday night?
Monday night, 5 o'clock, and then, then we could try to schedule, if you guys have the time, we can try to go ahead and do like that Monday, Wednesday thing again, if you can do that, or Monday, Thursday, we can go with the second set of people. So you guys just tell me what you need and I'll try to get it.
What's good for you guys?
So Monday begins at 5 p.m.
What, and if you want two rounds of them, 3 and
Or
3,
do
you
you
say?
wanna give me
I'm just open, whatever you guys wanna do on that, I don't care.
top 4 names?
I like to talk to them all, I think they deserve that, but
Okay.
otherwise, I'm with you guys, I just want.
Only thing I'm gonna draw back on is there's two of the guys that are in this pool that we already interviewed. I don't know that we
I haven't
really
really-
need to interview
And
them
they
again.
weren't part of this 6. I took them out of
Ah,
the
okay.
mix.
So
You
they're
know,
already
there may be, there may be different questions we'd like to ask them, but I hear you, so I'll live with whatever we do.
As a matter of fact, I found my notes. We have 6 without the
Without the,
re-interviews.
okay,
Yes.
okay.
We have 6. So I can do,
3 and 3?
Were those in that packet, or were there some
you
additional ones?
had, you had 2 sets, and I wanted to make sure that you guys pulled the ones from your first set over, so I thought just forget that. We went ahead and made copies of the
I know
ones
I
that
got
remained from the
envelope,
first
but
set.
so they're all in there?
That's, I'm adding these so you can have one envelope.
Okay.
Instead of you having to go back and pull out from your old envelope.
I think there was 6.
There's 6.
Okay, that's what I gave the oversight, okay. Matter of fact, Raymond sent us something today, I don't know if you guys saw it or not.
I did, yeah. 3 and, yeah, I'm okay doing 3 and 3, that'd be fine if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah.
So we'll schedule 3 for Monday. What's your all other day?
I'm far as I'm concerned, Tuesday work for me.
Okay, Monday,
Would
Tuesday.
that work for you? Or not?
I think so, you know, it's,
Yeah.
Tuesday's fine with me, but whatever John's got.
Start
let's
at
go
5
with
p.m.
Tuesday,
again.
sure, I'm trying to think of something else going on, but let's try Tuesday. We can change it if we have to.
So that's
Yeah.
the 10th and 11th. Does that ring a bell? 10th and 11th? Anybody?
10th.
I think 11th and
I think
12th,
the
huh?
11th is Tuesday. That's when council meets all day.
Hang on.
First day of school for District 2 as well.
Is that on
I'm
the
fine.
11th?
Yeah, Tuesday's 11th.
We start at 5, both nights.
I'm all right with that. I'm pretty open on the evenings like that for now.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'd be all right with that.
5 o'clock?
5 o'clock both
I'd
nights.
be all right with that.
We can do that.
Okay,
Very good.
all right. So that's what we got.
And I'll keep you posted, because I mean, this might not work out for the people who was being interviewed, so if we go down and count, I'll keep you guys posted.
Okay. All right, next up is the EMA and 911 director positions here, and, we, did do all the interviews on them, and I'm gonna go here and just say that, I thought we had some very qualified people for this job, I thought. Good interviews, and, I want to thank everybody that put in for putting in, so, anyway, that's, I have somebody in mind myself, but, again, I want you guys to decide what you want to, say what you want to say, and then we'll go from there.
We kind of discussed this the other night. I can just give you mine. Give you my thoughts. I said this early on, so I'd like to hire from within. I think we have some kind of policy somewhere recommended, not demanded. So I'm not gonna make a motion just yet, but I plan on making a motion for Jessica Lee to be our director. I will make that motion.
Okay. I'll hold the motion for now. Mike, anything that you want to say, or you want to act on the motion now, or anything?
Well, I just like to, I guess, clarify some things. I mean, I think all the candidates interviewed well. I don't think that we had a bad interview, so I want to throw that out there. I guess I'm torn a little bit, because I know people that that work there. I've known some for a long time and been friends with some for a long time, but I don't know. I think I think I was looking to go in a different direction and see if new blood was something that we would look at, but I'm probably the biggest critic of the 911 center, because my wife can tell you when I wake up in the morning, I turn my radio on and it scans all day long until I go to bed at night. So I hear the radio traffic, I hear the chatter, I hear good, bad, and like I said, I'm probably the biggest critic. I'm probably the biggest, and I can't say it on TV, but I'm sure I've been called everything but who I am. But that's fine, I'll accept all that. But I do that. I'm gonna say this, and I do that because I know that we can be better, and I know that we're good. We just need, I think in turn, we need to be better, and I'm not trying to be critical about anybody, but I think we can do the right thing more times than we do the wrong thing. And I think that falls in it, because I've said it in all the interviews, falls on training. And if we're not gonna train, then we're not gonna get any better. And if we don't have expectations for somebody, then we're not gonna get any better. So, I'm part of the emergency services in this county, and have been for a long time. And I'm sure people don't like to hear me talk on the radio anymore, and they like to hear somebody else. But whatever happens tonight, I want the best for Scott County, just like the earlier conversation about EMS. If we don't have the right policies in place, and we don't have the right things going in the right direction, then we need to fix that. And I'm going to say the same thing. And I mean, you can go back to Greg. You can go back to the other Greg. You can go back to Miss Ritchie. I mean, Carol and I had conversations, before she got sick, and I mean, we can be better at everything we do. Even though we can be the best we are, we can always be better. And I hope whatever we do, we walk away thinking, hey, let's learn from whatever we did wrong and do better the next time. So I'm just leave it with that, because like I said, I know I have a lot of criticism for it, but I also appreciate the people that work there. And I've also told you that I know my limitations, and I couldn't do that job no matter, any day of the week, and never on Sundays. So that's what I pretty much say.
Well, and I'm gonna piggyback off what Mike said right there just for a minute, and I will say this, and I do believe we all, and I know Mike, you are a lot more, and John from being past sheriff, is a lot more up on them radios than I am. But we do want the best that we can possibly get for this community, and I don't think we settle for anything less. I do think that it falls upon this board also, and I've said this a long time, and I hope that we move forward on this now, and not so much with you two, but I've always said that we need to have in place, I think, some kind of evaluation process, that when we put people in these positions, that we at least let them know what the Board of Commissioners want and expect, and then be able to go back 6 months down the road or a year down the road and say, okay, have they met this? And if not, give them the tools and the direction, and they either succeed or they don't. That's where I'm at with it, and I think that's what we need to do. But Mike said something there a minute ago, and I'm gonna tell you, over the weekend, I had the opportunity to go actually to the firehouse, and they dedicated that building to Raymond Jones, and to listen. And one of the things that was said out there that came to my attention more than anything was the fact that Mr. Jones is, as we all know, he's a stickler for perfection. He's a stickler for training.
Talking about rain.
Raymond, yes, not Mike.
The other-
No,
the other
but Raymond, and,
I want that
and,
clarified.
but again, in the words of Mike, and he was there at the time, so if this tells his age any, I can't, of course, I'm older than he is. But, you know, they talked about the fire of the feed mill when it burnt down here in Scottsburg. And without the training that they had done and undertaken, and, you know, a lot of people probably back then thought, well, we're training for nothing. But again, they saved the city of Scottsburg from burning to the ground. And that was, and this courthouse. So again, I agree 100% with, you know, train, and hope you never need it, but when you do, you've got it. So, that's just my opinion, but again, I think I think this board kicks it up a level on our side, and we do evaluations on the people that we have in leadership programs. We give them directions, and we give them time to achieve them directions, and if they don't, then we look some other way. And I think that's what we do. But anyway, with that being said, John has made a motion, again, I think for Jessica, is that right, Jessica Lee?
Jessica Lee.
So the motion's on the table for Jessica Lee. Do I hear a second for Jessica Lee for the 911 / EMA director's position? I will second that myself, again, and the reason I'm telling you that the interviews was all good, but I do think that, I think Jessica has, in the position as interim, has at least earned a chance for the position. And so I'm going to second that position. And I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And all opposed? Nay.
I'd like to take a step further here, if possible. We're gonna need assistant director, and I'd like to make Jeff Fortner the assistant director.
I think that would
Do we have to
be,
do that later?
no, actually, that would be up to the director to pick the deputy director, I think.
Okay.
That would be up to the
Okay.
director.
I get it.
Okay, so Jessica, you are the new director. Again, we will, I think, as we said, talk in the near future, and there's some ideas that I think this board would like to see implemented, and see if we can't move forward and just be a better
Well,
service than what we are.
This will leave a job opening over there too, won't it? One worker.
No, I don't think,
If she
will
goes
it?
up, she'd be taking Greg's place.
Mhm.
Right,
Somebody's gotta replace her.
right, we'll have a assistant on both sides open, for EMA and for 911.
Okay,
There's been a budgeted EMA assistant open that Greg didn't fill for whatever reason
okay,
as well. So there's
Okay.
this assistant position on both sides.
okay. All right, next
We'll
up,
notify some people, right, Tim?
Good luck to you. Good luck. And I just wanna say, I'm in your court, so don't think I'm not, so if I can do anything for you, let me know.
Thank you.
Yep.
next up is the building maintenance and on roof repairs and cooling tower repairs.
I mean, if you guys can find grants for this stuff, like everybody else can, please do.
That's COVID, isn't it? Didn't
Yeah.
COVID blow the roof off
What
it?
you're gonna tell us, probably.
Yeah. It would fall under COVID. So I'm gonna give you, I didn't get a chance to get these to Tammy, but I'm gonna give you, a couple different quotes. So, what day was that last week? One day last week we had the bad rain, couple days in a row.
One day.
Well, it was a couple days in a row, but it was a
You were in
heavy,
it.
heavy rain.
It was Wednesday, or no, Thursday, one day.
It was a heavy rain, and I had an office call me and say, I've got water coming from my office onto my desk, and I said, okay, so I went and checked it. it's been leaking for a while. Nobody ever said anything because nobody was ever in that office. It was in their little conference room that they don't use, and now it's an office. There you go. That's how offices get made, ain't that right, Andrew? So when everybody just makes their own offices.
Right.
So they had poked a hole through the ceiling where it was leaking at one time, years ago. So then it just dripped straight through the tile onto the desk. But when me and
So was there a bucket there that you moved?
no, there wasn't at that time. But when me and Eric went to the attic of what we found 8 water spots and running water into the ceiling, which is a problem because we have what they call, I didn't get the exact name, but we have 5 to 4 inch shingles. That's all the overlap right now. I'm going to assume that the roof is still original from when they did the addition in 90s.
96.
96.
96.
So when they added on, it looks like a ski slope. I have pictures if you'd like to see from the new building to the existing. 8 leaks is what we found in the shingle part. Now, I did take 2 people on the roof. A couple other companies did Eagle View, which is the drone or whatever it is that comes over and snaps pictures of the roof, gives them the exact square footage, the layout, everything. This is one quote that I will give you. This is for shingles.
Now, is this repairing it?
This
or
is
replacing the whole thing?
replacing the whole thing. Because here's the thing: if we have 8, we've got more.
Yeah, and they could come gushing through sometime.
Yeah, I'm trying to find this other one, John. Here we go. Here's another one.
So is this 2 different estimates?
No, it was adding. There's 2 different styles of shingles there.
Oh, okay.
They got one. That's yours.
Yeah.
That's yours.
So did you go with just one company? Or
No, I've got several. I've asked. I made sure before.
I know
I
you
brought
asked me
this.
and I told you that.
Yeah,
How many year guarantee we got here?
that one is going to be a third. Well, hold on. I just gave that to you. Does it say a year on there?
I was looking, I didn't.
It should be. It should be right next to it. I'll double check. But
On one says lifetime.
yeah, well, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a short life.
I want to say everyone that's told me it's a 30 to 40 year life.
Really?
Now, yeah. Now I did get a couple quotes separate. That is not. I know it's way out of the ballpark.
If it's a system plus, it's 50 years. If it's silver pledge, it's 50, and that's 20 years on a 3-tab shingle. And if it's gold, it's 0 years on a 3-tab
Oh, I got you.
shingle.
Yeah.
So for some reason I didn't have the extra of these, but this is another one. It's going to be a little lower. I've seen some of their work. I'm not a fan.
Actually, this is better than I thought it was gonna be.
It is for the whole roof.
We got that much in the
No,
museum, didn't we,
are we
Marty?
talking about the entire
The
roof or
15,000 square feet.
of the whole?
The entire roof except
the
for the
courthouse.
flat spots.
Well, this, I know a guy that works for them, and they put my roof on.
They put mine on too.
They did?
Lines, yeah.
Okay. Well, I've seen some of it.
Lines didn't, but the guy that works for Lines, his crew put my roof on.
Okay. Well,
And Mr. Lyons knew it. I mean, he said, you wanna do it on the weekend, go do your work. So, and that's, Mr. Lyons passed away. his
and that's
boys-
where I think now it's
His
kind of.
boys are running, but the guy still works for him.
Well,
And
they
I
were
know-
done with
and I know-
mine, but
and
they
I know
was
the
picking
crew.
up, they was going all over the place trying
Well,
to get them.
now-
They took
nails
mine
up.
off and put it back on the same day.
Here's 2. Now the
Mine
second
might
one
be
you're gonna
good.
get, the second one here, the really high number, that's what they call a, let me make sure I'm right.
And actually just came out there today and put some stuff on my chin.
Okay, a standing seam. Now that is a metal roof. It's way more expensive. It's twice the cost, if not more. But it's a lifetime. It's a
But
lifetime
like I was talking the
guarantee.
other day, even those, if paint ever 20 years or so or something, I mean,
Depends on the quality of the.
okay.
Steel.
Yeah,
And
depends
I've
on the
even
steel.
seen, and one of the things that, you know, of course, metal roofing is,
Thank you.
Sorry, John.
you want something on that metal roofing, they make metal roofing that actually looks like the shingles.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
that would be.
a dimensional, yeah.
Yeah, that would be the only thing I'd do. I mean, I don't wanna put barn metal siding on.
No, and that's the difference in the standing
For
seam.
that price, we can put 3 roofs on.
Well,
Right.
I never
That's
seen
why I
that
said
price yet. Oh, now I do, yeah.
Well, if I'm figuring this right, we've got 24 years out of what we got.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
And this is guaranteeing us more than that.
Now, what I can, say and what I can I'm not gonna say will be forever, but the two that came out that actually I took through the attic to get to the roof, through the cupola's is starting to rot on the inside. There's a leak in the, I'm gonna assume there's a pole that goes out, lightning rod, I'm assuming is what it is. I'm gonna say that triangle, water's getting through there and coming and dripping through there.
So any of these quotes, is any
That
of
is
these quotes
fixed.
fixing?
That is fixing,
I
that
have
is
a
fixing
I have
that.
a suggestion.
Did you get
Don't
that?
hire the guy that did Madison's.
Yeah,
Let me ask you.
That was yours too.
And I've noticed this roof actually myself. Probably a year ago, I didn't know it was leaking, but when you're talking about, I can see the bowl.
oh yeah.
So what caused that? Is that
I'm gonna say settling.
settling, or do you think maybe that was when that 36-inch snowfall come through there? And broke a lot of, and took a lot of roofs in.
I really don't know. There's that roof. It's like a ski slope.
That was in, 03.
Marty Randall,
03 when it come through.
when Shawver, who we used out at the museum,
Say it again?
Shawver,
Who the hell?
Yes.
and they were local.
Yeah, he's local.
Well, they actually were local at one time, but they moved to
So
Carmel.
is this the old
And they
part?
came down every day. and
But
did
then
that.
there are two
Yeah.
guys locally doing all the
Yeah.
work.
Josh, is this,
Richie,
he's staying on the old part?
Oh,
yeah, that was Shawver.
yeah.
And I think we're pleased with that down there, aren't we? I haven't heard nothing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But this I don't think that's him. This guy owns this and he lives here.
He lives in, this guy's from Clarksville.
Yeah, well he
Yeah, but
lives.
he's from here.
Yeah, he's building a house on Thomastown Road.
Yeah,
I think Thomastown.
yeah, there were two of them, they were both local.
I don't know what you're gonna find
That's
on
been 3 or 4 years ago. Anyway,
Yeah.
anyway, just trying to make a connection to it.
It's not. There's nothing there.
Whose phone is it?
Mine. But anyways,
So, let me ask you, is he going to take all this out, and whoever does this, are we going to have to remove that and?
I don't know if we can. That's literally, I am thinking that the ground of the building has settled.
No, but you can fix the roof line.
They can probably fix the roof line, yes, but that does not,
the ground.
that
that's
does,
what I'm thinking.
I don't think that does include that, no, none of these.
Well, if we're gonna take the, I guess my question I have, are they putting the shingles over the shingles?
No, it's all getting
Stripping
stripped
it
off.
off.
And that's another thing, so
So if you're gonna strip it off and we're gonna spend that kind of money, then
Fix
I'm
it
like,
back.
Bob, you need to fix it where it's flat.
so his quote
And that's
as
shim
well,
it or whatever you
these
guys
two
do.
companies, Hint Shavers and this one,
Hint showers, showers.
I think it's I don't remember what it is, 40, I don't know what it is.
43.
They did give me the most information on the stuff, so when they go to do the building, there's a lot of OSHA stuff that has to be followed, guidelines, especially on this building, or 3 stories, is they have to have a railing all the way around. They have to have a chute to shoot their shingles down.
Yep.
So obviously a lot of that factors in. Now this Timco is I got with Complete Construction, and this is who they use on really, really big jobs. Timco. There's that one. Now it is higher, I will say that, but again, they gave me the most information that I needed to give to you, and I felt like it was a really good page and an outline of what the building is, what it looks like. I mean, I can go back and do some more. But here's my thing on. I don't think it's a factor of finding of it. It either has to be done because The 3 of them that came, and actually 2 of them that came and got it on the roof, we have 4-inch shingles, 5-inch shingles, that's all they overlay. Well, here's your shingle, and here's your other one. There's nails in every line.
Sure.
You can see. So you can see the nails.
So what
That's
they-
gonna cause problems later on.
What are they putting on overlay?
Theirs is a lot, the shingles are just totally different now. They're thicker, and they have a nail line, shows where you nail it at, and then so it overlaps it. Their nail is at least up an inch further than what it is now.
Okay.
And they're more of a dimensional shingle. But I mean, all the shingles I think are close to the same. They're close to the same style that they would be putting out.
They would probably come to a meeting and talk to us, any of all these companies would, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think I could possibly have them come. My thing was with it, if we don't have it done, the winter is gonna ruin us if we get a bad
We
snow.
gotta get done. I mean, do we have the money in the
Somewhere.
That's
building
gonna
maintenance
be-
fund? We don't?
Not that much.
Where we got it at? Start your little digging.
You know that rainy day fund that they talk about?
No pun
Rain calls
intended.
it.
No pun intended.
Well,
There's
here's
not,
the,
but the hospital reserve fund is really where I think council would probably be looking at taking funds from, because that's the only place that we've really got any.
See another one. His is a little more too, but
Well,
I got a closed one. I didn't even see that one until just
Our
now.
plan's not in there.
I-
This one's
uh,
Gent, Doc Gent. He left one out there. That's the first time I've seen it.
We got the plan.
See, he's got a repair in the cupola. I haven't seen a repair in the cupola, and either, like I said, build and install 2 crew train change for water. I don't see anybody else, but I definitely think that, that needs to be spelled out in a quote about the
It would stretch, I know.
and also bringing that
If we
roof
go on
up,
stretch.
shimming it to where it's straight
We need to
across.
know
instead of-
That would have to be, I know for a fact that'd have to be, that would be added in.
we
That's
need
just
to
a-
know that.
that's-
I want straight
that's just a
roof.
trust.
That's a trust issue. I mean, you can redo that.
That's
you
not
know.
gonna make that phone
Yeah,
call?
that's and can you get inside that?
I would love to take you up in there if you'd like to go sometime, but I'm gonna be honest. It's tight.
Well,
And it's a,
You're on film.
Don't worry.
well, what I'm wondering is I'm seriously wondering if there's not some of them broken or some of them trusses broken.
well, I can't get in. I don't know where to get in on that side.
So that's what I'm wondering. Because I don't
I don't
bet
know
you
where,
that,
I don't know where the attic access is on that side.
Yeah.
I'd like to go, I'd like to go. in the basement.
But I would be more than glad to take you up
Or in the
there.
hall.
I'd like to do it.
I'd be more than glad to take you up there.
Well, we found minutes back years ago, because they were always talking about the tunnel underneath the old side and whatnot.
Goes to Hard's
And there was a
Tavern.
cave-in when this courthouse was
And
being
inmates
built,
had that
and
way
they just
back.
left it. There was gonna be a basement over there, but
Yeah.
it caved in during construction, and they just left it. So whatever they had done already at that time got buried.
I'm going as fast as I can in front.
Gosh, I
Well,
would
let's
guess when they
here.
did-
You
So, getting back to that, I can add, sorry, John, go ahead.
I was gonna say, wouldn't, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but if we have somebody on the roof, we probably have to set off section of this courthouse off for security reasons, not the courthouse, courtyard.
Oh, yeah, there'll be stuff all
We'd have
over
to have
there.
people blocked off from certain areas,
Because they'll have to do one, well,
yeah.
I can't say how to do it, I really don't know.
It'll all be blocked off, except the
Yeah.
entrance.
So, getting back to it, the only thing I think, in this again, I'll get the rafter stuff, I'll ask about that. My thing is, I can try and have them come in and try and patch stuff, but I just don't want patches all over the roof is my thing. You know what I mean? I don't want it to look, I guess you don't see it, but,
it's gonna, if you've got 8 leaks up there right now,
I mean, I probably got more than
I
that.
mean, you know, think about it, if them was 30-year shingles and it's put on in 96,
It's almost like,
you know, you're looking at 24 years right now.
and this is out in the
And so
open.
You about got the life out of them, so my suggestion is let's make sure that we know what we're doing, and let's make sure that each one of these companies know what's gonna be expected. We want to, I mean, I don't wanna look up there and have brand new shingles on that. You got
Yeah,
the
ski
humps
slope.
and valleys, and, you know, it looks like, you know, This looks bad.
I got you.
And, so, anyway, I want to make sure that, that if that needs to be done, let's do it right to start with, and I'm, you know, if you can't afford to do it right now, when are you ever gonna be able to afford to go back and do it over?
Right.
And that's my
Well,
thing.
if
we
something
won't
happened
be
to the
here.
roof, we won't be asking.
Oh, yeah.
that
We
question.
won't be here when it has to be replaced again.
True, yeah.
So I've got two, this is from
Well, you
Corson, well, they do a lot of our stuff now. This is for, I just need to get your approval on, the contracts for the sprinkler system in here. It kinda got.
So we've gone away
slacked.
from roofs and we're on something else now, right?
Well, I was trying to
The
speed up
service,
for you
yeah, I
guys,
see what
so.
you do, thank you, I appreciate that.
Um,
Okay, let me see that. I kinda got lost in the
That's for the
shuffle
one,
there
that's for the one
I
building.
know what they do, what's the contract for to,
The fire and
This is
security.
for the fire and security.
Yeah,
just,
For servicing the
Okay.
sprinklers, the.
fire alarm and
yeah, fire
detection
alarm.
system,
Yeah.
sprinkler system, backflow
Corson.
devices.
Corson Fire and Security.
Corson,
They,
Corson,
yeah,
yeah.
they already do our one at the jail.
Yeah,
So that's, yeah, so that's,
And
that's
that's-
for the building here, and this is for just like dispatch corrections. So I just wanted to see,
So-
one's for 1725, which is for this building, and one is for, 168.
You're just renewing this, aren't
is this per year?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
annual fee, yeah, okay.
you? But this is something you already have, isn't it?
I already have this in my budget, but the company got lapsed, oh, I don't know, 2-3 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. But I just happened to need something done on a piece of equipment, and I go down there and I'm like, oh, this company ain't been here since this time.
Okay.
So if we're gonna, you know, I guess, employ them to check our systems, I mean, are we gonna check if they're checking the systems?
I'll make sure they're checking them.
Because if they haven't been here for
And if I need
umpteen years and they,
Yeah, and
and maybe we didn't have a contract with them where if we weren't paying them, then I'm sure they're
Yeah.
not gonna show up, so.
yeah, and I mean, I do look at that. I mean, if I need somebody from the fire department, I think I know somebody.
Yeah.
how much is that, Bob? How much is it?
The one for here, for
I'm sorry.
the courthouse is $1,725, and the one for 911 building, Scott County Community Corrections building over here is $168.
What about the
A year.
health department?
They don't have fire sprinklers.
They should.
Sure.
The health department?
I would think they would.
They don't have a riser system.
That John Jones building had a sprinkler in it, because when they caught on fire, when it was Arbuckle Chevrolet, I was in it.
I think
And I'll go out there and
Go out
look,
there
but
and
I've
look,
never.
because I think it's actually, I think it's state law if it's,
I think
A
it's
public
got it,
building
'cause
like that,
I was
it
on
has
the
to have.
mezzanine out there and.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got it.
Smoked in the face with it.
Okay, I'll go look tomorrow, but I've never seen
I think it
I'm
was.
almost
a
positive.
riser system in there. Okay, I'll go
I'm
look.
like Mike, I think it is, but anyway. All right, do I hear a motion to, sign these things here for, $1,725 for the courthouse, $168 for across the street, and that's
I
per
don't
year.
mind doing that, I'm gonna ask the same question, we got money to pay for that?
Yeah, it's already in my budget, cause I already had it,
I'll
it was
make a
already
motion.
budgeted for it.
I'll make a motion.
I say,
All right, motion made and seconded, I'll make that unanimous.
but just make sure,
I'll-
because if are they the ones watching, or looking after, or the fire extinguishers too?
Yes.
And they haven't been here in how many years?
No, I'm sorry, they do the fire extinguishers already. They've been doing them, but they didn't do the fire.
So they haven't been.
They never, the contract wasn't with them, it was with AA or something,
So when's the last time the sprinkler system's been checked?
18.
Yeah. So are they gonna?
But
come
again, I
check-
wasn't-
Are they gonna come check it out?
Yeah, as soon as I give them this, they're coming.
Alright, 'cause that thing's supposed to be,
Service.
serviced and the pump opened and ran and water run out.
Yeah, because I had to have a
outside.
company from Louisville. They was the only ones I could get a hold of quick enough. I had a buddy at work out there. He sent one of his guys down to check it out, and they had to open up the,
Oh, yeah,
and-
you gotta flush it.
yeah, yeah.
How much was the community corrections?
168.
168 and 1725.
And then Tammy asked me, or I'll get to the cooling tower because that's on there. It is the cooling tower went down.
Mm-hmm.
We had some belts ever since the company. I remember you guys talking to you about the company that does our maintenance contract on the HVAC stuff. It's sometimes pulling teeth, but I'm saving everything like you guys asked. I'm gonna get new quotes. My thing is, they put new belts on the cooling tower, 7 new belts, and came in one day and 4 of the 7 were off. 2 were off on this side, 2 were off on the other side. One side has 4 belts, the other side has 3. I got them put back on, had a company come in, they fixed it, tightened up some things. It's a little off alignment on one, the other one's not so bad, a hair fraction. Over the weekend, Sunday, Bob called me. I was at a wedding, and he said, "Hey, sounds like this thing's about to take flight."
The pulley went out.
The pulley did go out on the small pump.
Look,
The bearings. There was, out of the whole thing, there was probably half bearings were left.
let me ask you, and I guess, again, Mike, he knows radios and the far side of it. I know some maintenance side of it. If they come up here and put new belts on this, did you call them back when them belts come off?
Yeah.
And they just put them back on and jumped in their truck and left, basically?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's where I've got the problem. If that should have been, I would thought that, I don't know who they was, and don't want you to say, but I'm just saying that it's just, in my opinion, they should have looked when they come back and said, you know what, we just put new belts on here, why did 4 of them jump off?
Mm-hmm.
There's something that causes something like that.
Yeah.
And,
Is that the guys that sit in here and told us how good they were gonna do?
That probably wasn't them, that was Herschel Train. That was the other
I
one.
thought both of them came in.
They did, but the other one wasn't. The other 2 was the Herschel Train. This was Comfort Systems. That's who we had originally. That did all the gel installation or whatever it is that they did over there. They were part of that.
I guess my question with this, don't we have local HVAC people can maintain that thing?
And that's when we had the last meeting. I was asked, I guess, to use them as service because we don't have a contract with service. We have a contract with
to do
PMs. So absolutely, I do use another company. Every time I call, they're here. They don't hesitate. They're here.
What's the good news on?
Good news is I got a pump ordered.
Okay.
Bad news is I don't know when they're going to get it. It was coming in this week. I guess just the bad news is not really bad news. We're just waiting on them to put it on. As soon as they get here, they are going to. Scotty and him is going to. He put a rod on there for the levelness of the pulley. He's going to adjust it. I probably could have had the pump rebuilt, but it was not much more just to buy a new pump. And here was my thing, we have to have it. There's no...
You're talking electric motor.
The motor, I'm sorry. Yes, the motor for the pulley. But, so we got a high and a low speed, and the low went out. So every time that low was jumping like the bearings, and it's off, the pulley and the belts are on the same bar. So when the high's running, it spins both sides. And even when the low's running, it spins both sides. So the horsepowers are totally different. And it would jar, throw a belt off. And then the belts would jump over each other, which you saw. Yeah. I took a picture of the one. The belt was completely wrapped around the pulley. I mean, it was in a knot.
I was just thankful because when I turned around, come around the square that evening, I had the window down on my truck, and I heard this god-awful noise, and I thought, oh Lord, don't let that be my truck. Because I thought if it is, I'm in bad trouble.
City calls me.
So
and it was loud.
I stopped, and when I shut my truck off, I said, nope, I know where that's coming from. And it was coming from that.
So that's the news on that. So hopefully once they get that and they get it all situated, hopefully we'll be okay. Tammy asked me to get some quotes on lavatory stuff for no touch or touchless sinks.
Mm-hmm.
The hand dryers are out. Everybody's taking them out. They're not using them. Supposedly they're blowing more. So I was going to ask Michelle, but it's blowing more contamination because nobody's washing their hands good enough. Yeah. So I'm going to take them off of here because I'm not going to use them. We're going to keep doing with what we have with the paper towels because when you pull them, it's like a mechanical. It automatically has another one come out. That's that. Wind Supply was gracious enough to get me a quote for everything. Now this is something we have to install. Again, we'll see. That's the one. That's for material for just the bathrooms, the public restrooms. For now, that's kind of out there. Again, this is another one though, and this is for them. Sorry, John. This is for them. That's not for installation.
Okay, but this is
That's just, okay, so that's for faucets and, that's for faucets and hand soap dispensers. High grade is what we use right now for hand soap and paper towels. They're going to look into getting us some hand soap since we order hand soap through them. I think that's going to be a better idea for those, because your hand soap and your sinks are your main things that you don't really need to touch. You really don't, you know, and then you walk out your door, so you still got to touch it.
So the faucets are automatic faucets?
Yes. This one here, I think, yeah, I gave you one. This one here is from S&L. That price is installed too. I personally think it's a decent price. It's just for just the material.
Let me catch up. You're just talking here in the courthouse?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Just on the bathroom. Now I'm going to go through on the they put on here the sensors. I think we've needed them in the past anyways, but this is a COVID purchase. I'm going to go through. I did order a sensor, motion sensor, and some lights that I'm going to. They're going to be similar to these, but not 2x2s. I'm going to take the 2x4s out, and I'm going to put if you walk in the front of the building, when you walk out in the little vestibule past security, look at those lights. Don't look at them too long.
I can't.
Bright.
I can't always sit in here too long.
But I'm gonna put.
They're bright.
I'm gonna try and put 4 in a bathroom. I'm gonna test the lumens, make sure I get the same. I'm gonna put 4 in a bathroom instead of having the 2x2 lights, and try to get away from the 4-foot bulbs.
Okay.
I am going to try that.
This with S&L, is that pretty much what you're looking at there, the automatic faucets?
Yeah, it's going to be the same, but this is with them furnishing them and installing them.
Also, I got a question about, you were talking about lights.
That's yours if you want.
In the bathrooms and stuff, and in rooms that nobody occupies or frequent.
Motion.
Is there motion detectors in there?
There's not now, but that's what I ordered one of those, and that's what this consists of. This replace occupancy sensors. That's going to go in the bathrooms, and that's for that price, which I don't think is terrible. That's labor and including. So I did print off some for like Amazon, but after I got their price, I really don't think it's going to be cheaper for them to install them and purchase them. Okay. So after I got that, yeah.
And eventually, hopefully, all of this will come to the expenses we've had, thoughts and projects about future claims that we could make, and that was just getting started on something we can think about upgrading our faucets and everything touches that we can come to a conclusion that, you know, we don't have to, it can be automatic. We might as well, if there's a mechanism to tap into some funds, improve our building at the same time, but yet be safer for everybody. And honestly, I really do
I just
think
need to get
that if we documented
motion to
our
have
particular
them come do that.
situation at the end of the hall
That's
here
all
with
concrete.
security and the no social distancing capabilities, lack of or very little that we have to get in and out of this east door, that if we really look at that and we show them the options and take pictures, because I want to do like basically a documentary, so to speak, on it, and have some documentation to provide proof. I would like to see if we couldn't even, if we have plan B, like I always said, make sure you can pay for it, but if we can turn the front of the building in.
Yeah.
Because that would be the in and out, separate entrance, segregated, you saw the wall between, you know, those type of things. We always wanna make sure we can pay for it, but if we could turn it
the
in and they would
original
justify by
fixing
what
the
we
jail,
can prove to them that we've had
where
to
the
do.
bison is,
For
moving it over in
security
front of the
and
building,
health, safety reasons.
and this bench
We
out
might
here,
get
because we
some
had to do 4
reimbursement
yards of
on that.
concrete.
Yeah, why not?
Won't hurt to try.
They need it next
That
year.
one,
Bet.
I'm still waiting on the county to be able to come down and
Okay, so
pull
this
that
is
out.
for something else.
That's for something else.
And that was for
that was, so the one I just gave him was, I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you do. I got that quote because of moving the bison.
Did we
And,
move it?
well, not yet, but getting the concrete done up by the building where you had said the concrete going, and then the bench, but I have to patch the jails where we took that railing out to get the new lift in there, that, railing. That's to just do that, I just need to get it, and I've got it, I just need to get the signature, or motion, or whatever.
I thought we already did that.
We never did a motion, no.
I thought we did a motion for the concrete.
No,
We did quote,
folks, but was that the one?
that was the
sidewalk?
ramp
The
down.
sidewalk
Remember
on
it,
the east side?
it was not leveled up and was busted. Where it goes down, we did that one.
So what do you want the motion for?
Just so I can get him to get.
No, I mean, on what items, but just the concrete?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll make a motion for that, I mean, for the concrete.
How much was it again?
Also,
Okay, this
is
one.
that gonna take care of that sidewalk?
Well, that's what he was just talking about. County's been really busy, and I've kind of just worked at their time with them doing the roads.
Well, with that water we had the other day, I guarantee it was a pond.
Well, and that's the thing, I don't know if you remember telling you about the elevator, getting water in it, it always does. This last rain we had, none, but it came out in the hallway. So,
So the pump kept up with it.
I didn't have the pump on, it just didn't have any water in it. We got a pump in there, but it's not in a hole yet.
I thought we put in a hole.
No, we never did that yet.
So was that part of that?
Mm-mm.
I thought we were gonna bust that up and.
We were going to. I got the quotes on it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all about
Well,
quotes.
update
you
me
know.
here a little bit. This is your.
This is
Slab of concrete down for.
Well, this was, so we had to do, I needed to get concrete to have a spot patched, and you can do a minimum of 4 yards of concrete. So we were just using the concrete in areas that I just asked you guys
Where's
where
that
you would
gonna
like
be?
them. Right on the
Between
where the
the old
steps
part-
go down,
The old part and the new part.
between the old part and the new part, right in that big area right there.
And the concrete's gonna be there just so there won't be moisture or what?
No, it's just filling that in, and then we're gonna put the bison there. Take the bison from the thing, put the bison up next to the
And
building.
actually, the tourist, whatever Mike Chessie's with, they've got a
Tourism.
stand that thing stands.
And was gonna,
that they
a
purchased.
rock or something.
That it'll stand up on, and we were gonna put a light on it and
I
make it
remember
permanent.
talking about all that, but.
All right, so you made the motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I thought it
You
was
second?
done.
I'll make it unanimous.
You sign it. That's wherever.
Gotta take care of a buffalo.
This is for
I'm surprised it hadn't been road.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm sorry guys. See you.
Is that all you got?
Yeah, no, right? I tried going as fast as I could. I said I was gonna, remember, find a grant for
All
it.
right, the emergency ordinance draft and health emergency operations policy.
And again, you don't adopt the draft of the ordinance, it's just the health emergency operations policy that really, because the ordinance would be adopted if it was needed. So that's just the draft.
So is this, and that's where I was getting at, I
Yeah.
mean, is this something we can still build on, work on, and change?
This is just to have something there for
To start?
operations, for teleworking, for the things that we've already been through, but this puts it in perspective, and this allows somebody to pass information on to department heads that this is what the plan could be like, and as is at this point, but it can always be amended or modified anytime that you guys need to. This is just basically, because there could be pages we need to add, because we don't know how all this stuff will play out, so.
Because there was some stuff in there that I wasn't 100% on, and there's some stuff that probably need to be in there, and I'm just saying that if we pass this or amend it or whatever, that we can come back later and, you know, change it.
And that's one the council's already signed off on, right?
And all this has on this here, they've approved it, yes, in their last meeting that they had, they approved it from the standpoint of they feel like that this is something that financially that it would support the salary ordinance and things, but action will be taken as needed when you guys need it. This is basically just a good basis to springboard off of, and as you see, it's just signed by both board presidents. If both boards agree that this is where we're gonna be at for right now. If something happens or an emergency dictates something different, you can amend this to include what you need it to say.
Yeah, and that's what Mike was saying, I agree with that. This just gets us something in place, and we'll still have time to do some more studying. If we wanna change, we can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, and
But I'm
and
sure-
the council's okay with what it feels like to them as far as what the salary ordinance and funding would agree
And
to.
then, the key now is letting all the employees be aware.
Yes, yes, and you guys have already adopted a large part of this anyway, because that was the federal mandates that came down.
Yeah.
So you're asking us just to adopt the health emergency operations policy?
That's correct, and then should you need it, this ordinance is just a draft for you to review. This is something you can take into consideration or totally ignore, should you need to have a public health emergency and mimic the governor's orders.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right, do I hear a motion on the health emergency operations policy?
I make motion.
John makes a motion,
As is.
second?
I'll second that as long as, it can be something that we can amend or change or adopt new or take stuff out.
And I think, yeah, I think
Totally agree.
it's a working process, it's policy that I
I'll
think,
second that,
I'll make
I
it
wanna make sure
unanimous.
that it's not a,
Oh, no, you're not legally bound to this.
Do I need to
No.
sign off on that, or?
I'm gonna get a real nice copy and then I'll have you and Mike sign
Okay,
later,
all
okay?
right. All right, so, we don't need to do nothing on the emergency ordinance, that's just a draft, right?
That's
That we can
correct,
use.
that's just for
Okay.
example.
All right, next up is a special meeting time for the Court of Accommodations, and, the judge was in here, and he did ask us to maybe put together, 2 or 3, different dates that we might be able to meet with him and the prosecutor and, whoever else on, talking about accommodations for the courts, and I guess the, things
Yes, they
upstairs
would like-
that
yes,
that
because
he
they-
liked.
Reached out to me, Judge Mountain did the other day, and he said he was gonna be, I actually didn't expect him to be here, cause he said he was gonna be gone through the 5th of August. And I said, well, okay, that gives me time to get with you guys to see when we could have a special meeting, because they are looking at the second floor, and how they're gonna be arranged and rearranged, and so I think they just wanna come back together, kind of moment and discuss,
And it
then
does have
Amy's-
to be a special meeting, doesn't it? I mean, we
and
can-
I think that works better because as you can see, if we get that particular topic in a night meeting, we're gonna be here twice as long as we
Yeah.
are here tonight.
Mm.
So, is there any
And
any
he said
particular
he's-
time? Mike, I know you're gonna be gone,
I'm gone 1st of September.
Well, Wednesdays always work pretty good, it seems like.
and
I'd like to be here for that, cause I like to hear what they're talking about, cause, talking with some people in the court system, I mean, they, during this COVID, pandemic, they've utilized that camera system a hell of a lot more, they've utilized Zoom a lot more, and, you know, if there's nobody gonna appear in a courtroom, then, you know, their needs might change a whole lot. So, and if we move the technology a little faster, maybe they, you know, we're gonna see the courtrooms look a lot different than they used to be. So, 'cause I don't know that
Things
the other
are
court,
changing.
I don't know the other courts even had anybody in that courtroom for months. And it's all being done on Zoom and it's, I was told that you'd be surprised how many people, you know, in the public go, sure, I'll be on Zoom and be in a hearing and so
Yeah.
maybe it's the thing to come and maybe, you know, we may not need the space that we thought we were gonna need in the future.
okay. What about, as we're here 2 nights in a row next week, Monday and Tuesday, so, I mean, do you want,
Boy, that's true.
I'll be 3 nights in a row.
Yes, Marty.
Wednesday night is Board of Zoning Appeals and Planning Commission in
Uh,
this room.
In this room, okay.
So I got a meeting,
And you're back in school
Yeah, you
Wanna
didn't
do
know
two-
about it, but
wanna
you
do
do
two
now.
in one day?
on the 19th?
I'll let you know.
No, on the,
We don't have to do it
On
next
the
week,
11th.
it can be a
On the
week from
11th.
Wednesday.
yeah, we can jump, we can drop,
kill a week or.
yeah, we'll come back about the night.
It'll be
Well, the 19th will be our next meeting. Next regular meeting, right?
Correct.
We wanna do an off night of that, so.
So you wanna do it, maybe try like the 17th or the 18th, you wanna try something like that? That puts us off. Or you wanna try the,
17th better for me.
What is that? What
so
day?
you wanna give them, let's give them a couple dates, or you wanna say the 17th and maybe, what about the 24th, or you guys?
Wait, are we talking the 17th of Wednesday, or what is it?
It's
It's
a
a
Monday,
Monday night,
Monday
And the
night,
24th is the next Monday.
yeah.
I'd say that'd be.
Cause I don't think any of us wanna be here 3 nights in a row, and then if today's the 5th, we'll be back here on the 19th anyway, for a
I'm
regular
sure I'll be
meeting.
able to go home if I have 3 nights in a row, 2 nights in a row, got me enough.
I'd have to write you a note, and you'd have to write me one, so you know. So, all right.
So what are we picking,
The
17th?
17th and the 24th, that's two of them, either one of them?
First
Okay,
one.
what time of day?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's,
Do you
what,
want-
5 o'clock?
4:30,
4:30 or 5 o'clock?
Cause if he's done at 4:30, maybe we could just drop down here and everybody could come after their day's closed. So you wanna say 4:30 or later?
I'd say 4:30.
Yeah,
Either day?
Yeah.
So I'll offer those dates to him and he can check with his
okay,
partners up there.
that'll work.
So we're planning now 17th to 4:30 PM unless something changes.
The
Well,
17th
either
or
one.
the 24th, he'll get back with us, and let us, be one of them two,
Just
okay?
let us know.
Just let us know then,
We got a meeting on the 19th.
yes.
Okay.
All right, next up, consideration of the July monthly claims, payroll claims here.
I'm gonna speed through this, I'm gonna accept them. I
Uh,
make a motion to accept them.
Motion, I'll make it unanimous, cause I've done looked at them.
Yeah, I did
Let's
too, I
see.
got them sent to me, so.
I'll just make a motion on the payroll ratification, let's get it all over with real quick.
All right, motion for the payroll ratification's been made, you hear a second, Mike?
Second.
Unanimous,
I'll make a motion, get consideration minutes of the meeting passed, I'll make a motion.
And notice
All
that I
of- all them
did short
days.
just set, I did not put that last set in there because I ran out of time, because I've been,
Or whatever she's got here, I'll make a
okay,
motion.
that's June 22nd, July 1st, and July 2nd. And you made the motion?
I made a motion.
Second.
Come on, Bob, do your job.
unanimous,
I don't know what I said, but.
That was
the minutes,
All right.
And I put the mowing on there.
Well, I wanted to ask, that's something I was gonna ask at the end of that here anyway.
okay, so we got the,
Where am I signing that here? Blue?
I don't know, yeah, blue, I think blue tab.
I know you got on here about, are we done with all the motions?
Yeah, we
I don't
do,
see nothing to sign here.
It's all the way in the red mark.
red marker, I guess, red marker. What color is it,
Where-
blue or
where-
green, blue or green?
Where are we at with, where are we at with the pigeon roost being divvied out to somebody else mowing it?
Well, I think a lot closer than we was.
Yeah.
What I understand is, I think actually, my understanding is, the,
Cemetery board? or-
actually, the sheriff's department, I think some more. And the reason was before that it was considered, now that it's, I guess,
Court ordered.
been court ordered and given to the county, then it's no longer private property, so I guess he can do that now, is what I understood. So that you understand
I'll
that?
let it, yeah, I'm ready to, I wonder if he knows what he's getting into. That's a job.
If they don't have, I mean, I'm not saying they don't have other things to
Yeah,
do, but I
yeah.
mean, if I'd rather be out there weed eating or mowing than sitting in a.
Well,
cell.
I mean, I think he's got him work quite a bit. And if they'll do it, fine, I'm all for that, I don't want it to be something they do once a month.
No,
I think.
I think you can do every 2 weeks, and
As
I'm
long as
fine
he's
with
got
that.
time to do it, and I've been a little concerned about that, is if he can really, I'm not sure he knows what he's got himself into, and be quite honestly, I think cemetery board ought to be doing it, but that's a different issue.
You're talking about the,
Pigeon roost.
no, I know that, but I mean, you're talking about, Robbins guy.
Yes,
John
I think
Robbins.
their group should be.
I think
Well,
they
he's
ought to
court
too.
ordered.
And,
He's court ordered.
and it's not that I don't want Jerry to do it, but I think that's where it belongs,
I do too.
yeah.
And whether they, and here's where I'm at with that, they either, and maybe they know that it's hard,
Well, they do,
but
yeah.
They
maybe
both
it's
know.
either, hey, they need to hire somebody, or an additional person, or 2 people, or whatever, to be on their crew. But I just, 41 cemeteries, and some of them are, I mean, I know what some of them look like, and I'm sure they're not mowing them every week, and,
Yeah.
but some of them may take 15 minutes to mow, and some of them may take all half a day, so.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm all for letting Jerry do it. I'm not sure I wanna make it permanent, but it probably will be once it gets started.
What we probably need to make sure is that the cemetery commission budgets enough money
For that.
Well,
for
but-
21 to cover the extra hours of manpower and fuel they need.
But to me though, with that fund that we created for our maintenance on mowing and stuff,
Yeah.
if we have to say, hey, we're gonna give you $400 this month.
Do it.
And
Yeah.
it pays them to go mow it extra, then I think we can pay that.
And I talked to Teresa and she looked at their budget and they could request an additional and move money up because they've got enough. She said they kind of cushioned them a little bit more this time around because they run so close. And she said there could be money, I mean, no more mowings than you would have to do between now and October because they usually knock it off in October. They start mid-April and go to about mid-October. There is potential for it to be covered with man hours. If you guys talk to the cemetery, that the order should talk.
Well, I think so too, and that's where I kind of stepped back and was kind of in a little confusion of them telling us that they can't do it, and it's pretty much us telling them, here's what you're gonna do. And I'm.
Well, and
If we have
again,
to fork up some more cash.
And that's what I'm
I-
saying.
I should- We should fork it up.
And that's what I'm saying, now that fund that we created on the rental for those trucks out there, the rental for the towers, when that starts, I mean, we'll have some additional funds that we can say, you know what, if you need additional money, we'll take out this fund.
So
I
to
can see
me,
it
Jerry's like a fix, but not, hopefully not a permanent.
Well, but that may change.
If
I mean,
they had
could-
no money at all, period, I could see where they just could not physically, they couldn't take it on. But I think there's some money there, and I think it's a matter of probably just asking for the additional and getting the money put in
Well,
place.
to me, it acted like
and
it wasn't
scheduling.
about the money, it was about, they didn't think they had the time to do it.
Yeah, it's like, what, a pain in the rear.
But maybe you
Yeah.
hire a person just to do
Don't
this.
quote
And
that.
that's what I'm saying.
Well, it's-
And that's what I'm saying, if you have to hire an additional person, say, if you're mowing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you say, hey, I'm gonna hire these other guys to do it on Tuesday to go mow, Pigeon Roost. I mean, so, to me, I think they need to try to work it out, so.
I do too. So and I was gonna say too, that, there's another big field out there. It's probably that tall right now. We're supposed to be mowing. Jill said they would get it done for me. I take care of it.
You're talking out behind the hospital.
No, Pigeon Roost. There's
Oh, they know where-
as soon as you
yeah.
first turn in,
Yeah, they mow that.
but it hadn't been mowed this year.
Yeah, they haven't mowed too much of anything.
And the hospital, you're right, she said she'd get that done, and that, not the hospital, behind the EMS,
Yeah.
the
Places,
whole
one
hospital.
place.
There's a property there, probably 50 yards or 50 yards. Knock it out in no time, but it's probably this tall. And the people in the old homes, the homes right there, senior homes. Apparently they're complaining. Tim's contacted me about it, saying probably, I don't know who else, I told Jill to get hold of Tim. Because somebody in the city said, well, just mow it and charge the county. So it don't go that route.
well, I think it's again, yeah, I think
will.
we'll get that down.
I do have one other thing, and it's not official yet. Did go out and meet with the hospital over the morgue, county morgue, in a room for the coroner. There is a new CEO, and that's new, coming on board, moving here from Muscle Shoals, Alabama to here to run the hospital, but right now it's still he's still in cahoots with Martin Paget from Clark County. They're still kind of, but he took Jerry out there. Jerry looked at the facility where they were talking about doing it. Jerry's happy as a lark with it. The hospital wants to be a good partner with us, they went back to their attorneys and to their people and trying to get an MOU and what is it? Yeah. Memo of understanding, an MOU, yeah, that's right. So I'm waiting for that to come. As soon as that comes, the only thing we'd have to do, of course, I already, we tried to tell the council a long time ago, probably early in the year, that you better come up with at least, I believe, $10,000 for the equipment to put in there. And so Jerry also asked him to make sure his budget reflected some additional money. So because he said, I usually don't do anything, just send it the same as he always does. But it sounds like it's a go, and until we get the stuff back from the attorneys so that we can take it to our attorney. But once that happens, we are going to have a little, maybe work with their people, maybe work with maybe some of the jailers or some of the trustees over there, if we can build a couple of walls in there or do something to set it up. So, but the hospital said they'd work with us however they have to. So, but it sounds like it's a go, and it's going to be good for them. Utilize the morgue when we're not utilizing it, and they can. So they're want to be a good partner. So when I find out more about it, I'll bring it to the meeting. So
Sounds good, Mike, and I thank you for working on that out there, and that's something that we have to have, and it's something that's gonna be a big help, and I think it's going right where it needs to be out there.
Let me throw a couple quick things at you.
Okay.
The mowing again. I would like, if you guys are willing, I'd like to go ahead and bid somebody out to do the landfill. I don't care who it is to me, but it needs to be done. And this summer, and I mean, I don't know what happened or why, but I'd like to get the summer mowers back. The kids who mowed all summer, we're not doing that anymore. The reason we quit that, anybody know?
yeah, it was because of COVID and the budget.
Yeah.
Jill was worried that she was going to run out of her money,
Yeah.
and she said she purposely did it, and then she knew that in the end of July or in July, August, she had a bunch of people on vacation, and she was going to have them mow them.
I remember that.
So.
Yeah.
So should we ask her to put in the budget again for next year? And if COVID's still an issue, we just don't.
No, I think she's mowing. I think they're mowing.
Well, they are, but
yeah, but
I mean,
they're behind.
Yeah.
They're behind big time, yeah. On the, I don't care, I'm like you, again, this is my thoughts, if you're going to get somebody to mow the landfill, I think, and I think you get them mow behind the health department, John Jones' place. I think we get them to mow at Tri-Hawk. We spent money to have that cleared up there. I want that to keep that mowed without it going up.
Redevelopment could pay for Tri-Hawk.
Yeah,
that's what I think we said that before.
Yeah.
Does that get up high enough that somebody could bail it for some money?
Up at Austin? Probably, well, yes, but I don't think anybody's going to, because they went in and basically cleared everything, but I don't think it's ever been sold in, like, been put into anything that was, that would make decent hay. But it might be something we might want to think about, we may not do that, but, so I would say, let them.
We bid all three or
All
one
three
or
of
each?
them,
Or?
yeah, I do, I just bet them, just.
So we would have to, I'm saying we would have to give her the information to what they'd be mowing, bush hogging, actually.
Bush hogging, yes, yeah.
And they'd have to have their insurance.
Uh-huh.
And basically turn them loose, whoever gets the bid we accept.
Yeah.
Is that a problem, Tammy, to get something like that ready to get in the paper?
We can make we can get an ad ready and put it in the paper. Matter of fact, I've worked with the sheriff, and he's got an ad in the paper in the Cartersville Times right now for that scrap cooling tower over there. We're gonna take sealed bids, you guys, it's gonna be on the middle of August, that agenda to open those up. So we can get an ad out for, bush hogging.
Yeah, well, and I think they need to know how many acres are at the landfill and that kind of stuff, so have an idea what to bid out on.
Well, I mean, we can take think map and
Yeah.
guess the acres that you need to have mowed.
And I think
we can try to
landfill,
work on
30 acres or 31 acres or something. I'm sure you don't mow every bit of that.
Oh, yeah, you don't,
But,
you know,
so,
okay.
yeah, we okay with that then?
Yeah,
Can you
let's
do
get a
that,
price
Tammy?
on it. Let's
Thank
get a
you.
price on it, yeah.
Yeah.
Tammy,
Uh-huh.
we're still on, we're still on for the 22nd, correct? For the auction, county auction?
That's, I put a call out to everybody, if you're still on for the 22nd, I mean, I don't have extensive lists. I really don't have much, highway has equipment, and that's gonna be pretty easy for you to list. But I think the rest of it's just gonna be miscellaneous office furniture and, you know,
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff out there.
office equipment and whatnot, because
Yeah.
there's not anything that's major that's come
Okay.
up other than the highway thing, and I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, there might be a crane, I don't know.
Yeah, but I've saved things in this folder, and it's what I've been given, except for the highway stuff, is just office chairs.
All right, I'll touch base with her tomorrow and some of them things, but yeah, let's
And I have
come,
her
let's.
list too.
And you know what, I don't have a problem, I mean, it's no big deal. I don't know if and we've done this before, I don't know if the city has anything in their collection down there that they'd wanna get rid of, that's fine too, I don't mind. Whether it's whatever.
Didn't the sheriff say somebody's having an auction or something on some guns?
We're gonna do that and that's what's gonna, I'm glad you mentioned that, we're gonna do that, but, we're gonna separate that and do that probably, in September sometime, and, I think, probably we'll do that probably like out at Mid-America or something, and we got a little better control of them and that kind of stuff, but yeah, we'll do that. And, so anyway, all right. Other than that, I'm just gonna say, what was I gonna say? Oh, I know what I was gonna say.
I've been here too long.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say, bring you up to date. We are, Marty, and maybe you can help us out here a little bit on putting this to paper, hopefully this will work here. School has started back, at Austin, and so it's kind of, stopped us from our food giveaway, the Farmers and Families giveaway there at the Austin School. So, myself and the Mayor Hawkins, has basically looked all over the city of city of Austin for another place, to no avail, not one big enough that we could handle the traffic and be able to set the stuff out. So we are moving that, tomorrow. It will actually be at the fairgrounds, Scott County Fairgrounds, the giveaway that would have normally been at Austin. From this point, from next week, starting next week, we will go to a one-day handout, and it will all be at the fairgrounds on Wednesdays, and we will hand out the total number of boxes that we hand out in 2 days and 1 day.
Can we start that a little earlier?
And we're gonna try to. I'm trying to deal with them right now on that, to move that forward. I think 10 may be about the only
That
thing.
sounds great.
We're gonna try to do that. I am gonna say, and I can't name everybody, but, this is just, it's a wonderful, wonderful program, but it'd be impossible without all the help we're getting. I'm telling you,
Who was the one crew there today? I saw the Harden boy.
yeah, they
Who
were,
were they?
some of them,
Probably paying them to be there, I imagine.
and some city employees from here, but the city of Austin, the fire departments, people just volunteering. I can't name everybody, wish I could, but I can tell you that it's been it's been a wonderful thing to see how many people it's joined in there today, and not only today, every day. And we've made it through it. We've stood in the pouring down rain, we stood there when lightning was striking and thought we was gonna get hit, but,
Did get hit.
anyway, to give you a perspective of this, I just done some figuring because I'm keeping a little bit of a track on that. I think we just passed today, if not, we'll pass it tomorrow, but we're about $1.5 million worth of food that we've given away. And we give away 30,000 pounds of food a day. So that's 60,000 pounds of food a week that we've been passing out. So just some numbers there. Anyway, again, we thank everybody that's been involved. And I'll say my two fellow commissioners here has been there every time.
I missed that.
Did you? We didn't miss you. See, I'm sorry.
I will be here tomorrow.
I'm sorry. I thought I was giving you credit.
I don't know, the truck driver said they missed me.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? But no, again, you know, we've had people from all walks. We've had, and the thing I like about it is it's really, I think it's been a county conglomerate that gets this done. We've had both mayors there, like today, up at Austin. So it's just everybody joining in to make it, to help the people of this community. And I think it's a wonderful thing. So we're going to continue right on the road and see if we can keep it going. And we just had to make some changes. And I just want to let people know that. Other than that, I'll entertain.
Did you have something?
I did.
Did you really?
No,
I'm
I
sorry.
wasn't on the agenda.
Okay,
No,
well,
no.
why didn't you
Yes, well.
throw a rock? Listen, anytime.
Sit there the whole
Listen.
At this point, I gutted it out.
Any-
I'm leaving. My husband is like.
Come, you can come up here.
That's
Listen,
okay.
anytime that you're here and something like that happens, you can throw a rock and hit Mike or John, and when they yell, I'll focus on you. How's
Well,
that?
I will moving forward, but oh my gosh, I was here and I thought to myself, we better get out of there before that clock is right. It's late.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes,
Beyond
it is.
that now.
It's 8:52.
I'm sorry, I
No,
didn't know who you
you're
were
totally
with. or-
fine. I didn't, I
Yeah,
didn't get it on agenda. So my name is Sarah Guth. Can I take this off?
Yes,
Do
you
mind?
can.
I know.
And you
I
can
was just trying to
sit
be
or stand, whatever you
polite.
want to do.
Yes.
We do the 6 foot thing.
Okay, well, I'm great. I just didn't want to be disrespectful of your
No.
No,
cat
you're
here.
fine.
Thank goodness. So my name is Sarah Guth, and I work for Being Longest Enough, BLN. We're an
Uh-huh.
engineering firm out of Indianapolis. We've got offices in Bloomington and Evansville for the southern part of the state. And I'm a project coordinator, and my job is just to kind of come out and meet the county commissioners, the highway superintendents. And was it that lady that was sitting there?
Mhm.
Okay, Jill. I
That
wrote her
was
name
Jill.
down. I think that's Jill. But I'm just here to kind of give you my business card and let you know that we're here if you need highway road projects, bridges, surveys, environmental issues, if you need, oh my gosh, right-of-way services, project, construction inspection for projects. And one of the kind of the timely things is that we know that NDOT is going to be having a call for bids in November. And so if there's anything big on your wish list that just don't have the funding for here, I don't need to educate you all. I'm just learning the ropes, but I know it's an 80-20 split for county federal. So it's an opportunity, and BLN does help with applications for these projects.
Okay.
And I think I'm not supposed to talk in numbers, but I think it's just a couple $100. It's just something to officially charge people for, so that it doesn't look like we'll do the application for you and then
Sure.
expect to get the bids or the project. So, but anyway, that's something we can do, and I just plan to kind of come, maybe not every 2 weeks, but once a month. I'd like to pop in and just see how you guys are doing and get to know everyone.
You're gonna drop in and see Jill, you said?
I will, yes.
Well, I apologize for you
No,
setting.
you're
Yeah, I do
fine.
too.
You're
Yeah.
fine. Like I said, I wasn't.
I kinda like watching her suffer.
Oh my gosh, well, here you go.
Thank you.
And, yes, and so.
Don't put that in the paper, Mark.
It used to incarcerate people years ago, so.
That's hilarious. Yes, so my husband was texting and I don't really have much of a signal here. And, so he was like, "Are you still there? Are you dead? Are you on the road?" I'm like, I'm still here. So he's like, I'm like, Mike, I'm in it to win it now. I'm getting it out. I put in too much time to walk
Yeah.
away, so.
Well, yeah, and, like Mike said, I am sorry, I didn't realize it too,
It's
you know,
okay.
but,
No, wait my turn.
it's nice to meet you
I
anyway.
have no problem waiting. I'm really interested now to find out everything that's going on. I'm really interested about that over there, and congratulations to this lady, and there's all kinds of stuff going
Oh,
on
yeah,
here.
yeah, never a dull moment,
I
is it?
can't wait. I can't wait to see what happens.
I don't know, I was getting pretty bored there a time or two.
I had to chuckle and I
Nice-
asked you second.
Nice to meet you and
Thanks,
safe travels
guys.
home.
All
Thank
right.
you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah, be
Nice
safe
to-
going on.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second, and I make it unanimous.
And turn that off.
Yeah, quick,
Okay.
before Marty says something.